Chapter 793. Immediately, except for the 6 disciples of celestial bestowment, the rest of the disciples dispersed. A new barrier once again enveloped the tens of thousands of disciples. The 6 disciples of celestial bestowment joined hands with Ling Mubai and used their perception to see if there was anyone else around. They secretly watched every move of the celestial bestowment sect. An old man was still unwilling. This is the best opportunity. Huang Lingyao is indeed worthy of being a genius disciple of our sect. She is overflowing with talent. This is the best time to kill her. Our sect has cultivated such a genius, but in the end, she has become a disgraceful traitor. Since she dared to come here, it means that she has the means to contend with us. Moreover, our sect's current situation can no longer afford any losses. Ling Mubai was still very determined, and the 6 disciples of celestial bestowment did not say another word. Ling Mubai's gaze was gloomy as he stared at the sky where Huang Lingyao and Sheng Changsheng had disappeared. He thought to himself, the path of cultivation is long. Today you're the best in the world, but in the end, you will still be buried in the vast expanse of bones. I, Ling Mubai, have really cultivated one outstanding disciple after another. A Su Fong caused a storm of blood in the Zhuotian realm, and finally destroyed the Zhuotian realm. A Prince Shui, I thought he was very loyal and coveted my position as leader. I could give him some benefits at the right time and control him in the palm of my hand. Who would have thought that this child had long been in cahoots with the Xinyuan Empire? Although Huang Lingyao is a woman, but this woman has always been the most mysterious existence among the disciples of the Venerable Tao. When Prince Shui merged with the immortals, he became the most dazzling existence among the disciples of the Venerable Tao. But I didn't expect Huang Lingyao to have such strength, to be able to forcibly take away the immortal bestowment scripture in the holy land of my sect. What's the difference between this and the methods of the immortals? But you, Huang Lingyao, don't be happy too early. In the future, I will definitely make you die a horrible death. All the disciples who disobey and resist this Lord, none of them can live peacefully. Your greed will be ruined in the hands of Sheng Changsheng. At that time, you will have already fallen into my hands. Ling Mubai was not angry. Instead, an unfathomable smile appeared on his face. It was as if all of this was not in his control, but he had grasped something. His eyes, in the darkness, stared at Huang Lingyao. He turned around and entered the formation. In the sky of the Beichen zone, 2 figures were quickly shuttling towards the world barrier. Sheng Changsheng, it seems you're nothing in Ling Mubai's eyes. Sheng Changsheng was trembling under the pressure, while Huang Lingyao glanced downwards to prevent Ling Mubai from bringing experts to pursue them. But she glanced at Sheng Changsheng indifferently, causing the latter to feel even more terrified. So, us 4 venerable Tao disciples are nothing to Ling Mubai? Or is he too shrewd? Is he planning to deal with me in the future? Sheng Changsheng shook his head. I don't know. In short, before the dojos were destroyed, we never truly saw Ling Mubai's strength. Looking at the current situation, he probably won't act rashly. The sect has fallen to such a state, so rebuilding it is the first choice. After all, he is the leader. The things he sees and thinks are not the same as us. That's true. The immortal sealing sect has only been established for 20,000 years. It can surpass the broken sword sect, which has been established for tens of thousands of years, to become a first-rate power. Every generation of the sect is ordinary. For example, the immortal sealing scripture can condense the power and faith of countless disciples. Once it is used, it can freely control the power and will of hundreds of thousands of disciples. If Ling Mubai has the immortal sealing scripture, he might be able to resist the immortals and protect his dojos. After grasping the domain, Huang Lingyao saw that no one was chasing after them. She increased her speed again. Seeing that they were about to fly out of the world barrier, she asked another question. You still haven't told me why you have the immortal sealing scripture. This is because when I was training outside, I obtained a very special cultivation technique. I secretly gave this cultivation technique to Ling Mubai. After he obtained that cultivation technique, he stepped into the three calamity stage. He secretly promised me that the position of the future leader would be mine. He secretly let me enter the sect's sacred ground time and time again to integrate and cultivate the immortal sealing scripture. I naively thought that I would be the future leader of the immortal sealing sect. So it turns out that Ling Mubai has been playing us like monkeys. He secretly groomed you to be the future leader. He even pretended to be a saint and let us supremacy disciples compete fairly. Whoosh! A streak of flame passed through the Beichun Zone's world barrier, leaving behind a trail of burning air. Huang Lingyao and Sheng Changsheng entered the boundless Milky Way at this moment. Suddenly, a figure flew out from the other side of the world barrier. It was the exalted cultivator Yuezhen. Oh no! He was so anxious that he broke out in cold sweat. After a while, he gritted his teeth and flew in the direction that the two of them flew in. Half a day later, a figure brought the Stardew Lake across the infinite nebula and caught up with Exalted Master Yuezhen. Exalted Master Yuezhen respectfully welcomed a young face. He walked over under the Stardew Lake's cold air. Master, you finally arrived. At this moment, Su Fang's entire body was covered in frozen dew. He first looked at the Beichun Zone, then at the depths of the Milky Way. It seemed that he met Huang Lingyao and Sheng Changsheng with his perfection stage ability. I've been traveling through the Milky Way at my fastest speed for the past few days, but I'm still a step too late. Su Fang was helpless, but his gaze was still firm. I didn't expect Huang Lingyao to appear in the Beichun Zone and attack Sheng Changsheng. Shouldn't he be in the Wutan world, dreaming of becoming an immortal with 7 stars? Why did he attack Sheng Changsheng? The two of them continue to chase. Exalted Master Yuezhen said at this time, during this period of time, I've also heard some inside information. I heard that Huang Lingyao secretly stole the immortal sealing scripture when the celestial sealing sect was attacked, betraying the sect. This time, she came back to deal with Sheng Changsheng. It's probably related to the immortal sealing scripture. It's too much of a coincidence. I came to capture Sheng Changsheng and take back the purple cloud Dharma spirit, but this woman was one step ahead and suppressed Sheng Changsheng. I really don't understand. Alright, Ling Mubai really didn't chase after Huang Lingyao to save Sheng Changsheng. I'm also curious about this. If the celestial sealing sect and Ling Mubai joined forces, they should be able to save Sheng Changsheng, but they didn't do so. It seems that I have to follow Huang Lingyao into the Wutan world and see if there's a chance to take Sheng Changsheng back. That's the Immortals' territory. It's okay. I'll start using the Limitless Tao now and condense a doppelganger. I'll let the doppelganger enter the Wutan world. Then, you and I will wait outside the Wutan world. I'll listen to Master. I'll pass the Limitless Tao to you now. This Tao is quite mystical. It's almost comparable to most of the cultivation techniques in this small world. While following, Su Fang also started forming seals. He pointed at the exalted cultivator Yuezhen's head, and the latter started fusing with a smile. More than a month later, finally, they arrived at a galaxy not far from the Wutan world. Su Fang and the exalted cultivator Yuezhen hid in a meteorite and released a limitless doppelganger. The doppelganger looked different from Su Fang. It was a middle-aged man, and its aura was also very different from Su Fang's own true qi. It was a demonic Dao doppelganger formed from the Wutan world's origin and fused with some demonic qi. This way, no matter how powerful the 7-star child was, even if his doppelganger appeared, he wouldn't know that it had anything to do with Su Fang. The doppelganger immediately stepped on a flying sword and used some great perfection stage abilities. Coupled with the Wutan world's origin, its speed was comparable to teleportation. Soon, under the perception of Su Fang's original body, everything the doppelganger saw and heard, he could also clearly feel it. The Wutan world's barrier was actually completely shackled. Huang Lingyao and Sheng Changsheng also waited for a while before they were led inside by the experts. After a while, the doppelganger entered the Wutan world. Huang Lingyao's figure could no longer be seen. He controlled the doppelganger, and immediately flew to the Green Lotus Sword sect. Not long after, in the sky above the Green Lotus Sword sect, Su Fong sensed the familiar aura of the seven-star child and Huang Lingyao. After a while, Su Fong began to move. He saw a Green Lotus Sword sect disciple who had reached the third level of the feather transformation realm. He used the demonic disintegration seal and instantly shattered the other party's young nascent soul. The doppelganger immediately fused with this disciple and sneaked into the Green Lotus Sword sect. In the Green Lotus Sword sect, the doppelganger couldn't enter the depths and had the slightest chance of getting close to the immortals. There's no way to enter the Green Lotus Sword sect now. I can only leave a doppelganger and secretly sense the Green Lotus Sword sect. If the seven-star child and Huang Lingyao have the slightest movement, I can quickly sense it clearly. After the doppelganger muttered to himself, Su Fong decided to let the doppelganger stay hidden. During this period, the doppelganger used the identity of a feather transformation realm core disciple and quickly found out that the Green Lotus Sword sect master Lu Qingfeng, as well as many higher-ups, died in the Zhuotian world. They were buried under the divine power released by the Xinjia Gate. Not only that, even the Wutan world's realm lord also fell, and even his body could not be found. In short, the current Wutan world was completely sealed, not allowing the cultivators inside and outside to enter. And even Huang Yuan, who came from the lower realm, the immortal who ascended 50,000 years ago, also died under the divine power of the Xinjia Gate. The Wutan world could be said to have suffered heavy losses. In the stars, Su Fong, who was inside the meteorite, slowly opened his eyes, revealing a slightly stunned expression. He never thought that the fight for the Xinjia Gate this time would end up like this. The Zhuotian world was almost destroyed, and almost all of the 20 immortals were dead. Currently, he only knew that the seven-star child and the young man Holly were still alive. The other immortals from all directions, as well as the experts from the Long Heaven world, such as the Realm Lord, were unknown. After controlling the doppelganger to hide in the Green Lotus Sword sect, he believed that sooner or later he would find out some useful information. Su Fong sucked the exalted Master Yuezhen into the magic treasure space and immediately rushed to the Spirit Mist world. When he arrived at the Spirit Mist world, he saw the same firmly sealed world barrier as the Wutan world. Yu Yingying personally led him into the world and soon returned to the Heaven Crossing sect on the little Sky Devil Island of the Rich Continent. After meeting with his family and many cultivators of the Heaven Crossing sect, Su Fong began to plan what to do next. He communicated with Yu Yingying again and learned more about the Xinjia Gate incident. He then went to meet the 6 Lords of Rich Lush. No, he was the Spirit Mist Realm Lord. This Realm Lord had secretly used various methods to learn about the Xinjia Gate incident from the beginning to the end. In the main hall, Su Fong heard a lot of shocking news from the 6 Lords of Rich Lush, especially when they talked about Realm Lord Zhuotian. Su Fong could not help but exclaim, "I didn't expect Realm Lord Zhuotian to be an immortal." The 6th Lord of Fertility sighed and said, "At first, no one knew. But as you said, he led the 5 immortals to kill those immortals when they least expected it. Only then did he reveal his true strength. It turned out that he had already ascended and transcended his tribulation to become an immortal. He had been hiding his strength all this time. Realm Lord Zhuotian was an immortal, so it was naturally hard for anyone to imagine. But even so, according to the 6 Lords of Rich Lush, even if he was an immortal, so what if he planned to deal with those immortals who broke into the Zhuotian world and stole the Xinjia Gate? In the end, they all underestimated the Xinjia Gate. No one expected that at the last moment, the Xinjia Gate would be fused with someone, revealing the power of a peerless Tao treasure. Chapter 794. The 6th Lord of Fertility murmured, "Luckily, I didn't peek into the Xinjia Gate. Otherwise, I would have died." This time, many realm lords and their subordinates came. I heard that only a few of them were able to leave the Zhuotian realm alive. Most of them either died in the hands of immortals or were buried inside the Xinjia Gate. I heard that many realm lords took advantage of the immortals fighting to sneak into the Xinjia Gate to find other ways to obtain the Xinjia Gate. In the end, they encountered the Xianjia Gate being fused with by someone and were all shackled in the Dao treasure space. Once you enter the Xianjia Gate, it's impossible to come out alive. Not to mention that evil dragon demon immortal. Even if you encounter other immortals or realm lords, you will only die. Not only are there immortals inside, there are also many immortal array attacks, poisonous insects, and so on. It's useless for immortals to enter. This junior can still feel the terror of that Dao treasure. Su Fong had the deepest feelings. He had entered the Xianjia Gate twice and encountered those immortals as well as the ancient flood dragon several times. He didn't want to experience this feeling a third time. However, he didn't expect that so many immortals, realm lords, and experts would come to the Zhuotian realm to snatch the Dao treasure. However, most of them didn't have a good ending. They either died or were forever trapped in the Xianjia Gate. Just who had such luck to fuse with the Xianjia Gate? This was Su Fong. Naturally, it was also the question that the 6 lords of fertility and Yu Yingying were most curious about. However, this question would probably be hard to answer in their lifetime. The person who fused with the Xianjia Gate must have extraordinary ability or identity to be able to subdue Yun Xiao's lightning sword. That person would go to the outside world, that vast plain world, and become a peerless figure. However, there was also a possibility of encountering the Xianjia Gate. It was the reappearance of a Xianjia Gate. Su Fong not only had to become an immortal, he had to become a peerless immortal and stand among the experts of the outside world. Only then could he meet the person who fused with the Xianjia Gate. To be able to fuse with the Xianjia Gate, that person was destined to be famous in the outside world and become a peerless immortal sovereign. Ha! At this moment, the Lord of the 6 of Rich Lust laughed heartily. It's all because of you. At first, I thought you would obtain the Xianjia Gate. I didn't expect this kind of ending. I really don't dare to imagine that if someone like you went to the outside world, would the outside world be turned upside down because of you? This caused Su Fong to reveal a bitter expression. Senior, how can you joke like this? This kind of thing only happened once. Junior won't be able to take it a second time. It's also impossible for luck to keep pestering me like this. Then, Su Fong told the 6 lords of fertility about the ambush of his clone. After all, if 7-Star Child really wanted to deal with the spirit mist world, he would be on the same side as the 6 lords of fertility. That's fine. Make good use of your clone to scout for information. You can stay in the spirit mist world for now. Do you have any other plans? Junior has already obtained the heavenly gourd spirit tree of the Zhuotian world. Recently, I've been focusing on increasing my strength. I also need to think of a way to get an expert under 7-Star Child to take back a family heirloom. After dealing with 7-Star Child, I need to hurry back to the human emperor world and plant the heavenly gourd spirit tree in that world to change it. It seems your Dao heart is very strong. You can still remain so calm after such a big event. I more or less know a bit about the human emperor world. Some time ago, I received news that the Xinyuan Empire seemed to be going all out to search for the human emperor world. However, I don't know what happened afterward. It seems you came out of nowhere and ruined the primordial god world's plans. The primordial god world is much stronger than my spirit mist world. You have to be careful. As for the human emperor world, it has been desolate for so many years. It is a desolate planet, and it does need a lot of effort to nurture life. This is a huge project. Young man, work hard. The road ahead is very long. As a realm lord, the 6 lords of fertility carefully warned him. Su Fong returned to the little sky devil island. Taoist, this is the spirit mist world. I have a good relationship with the realm lord. You can cultivate here for now. After a while, I will bring you to the human emperor world. Inside the barrier of the central palace of Transcending Heaven sect, Su Fong let Taoist Gu and the 100 or so people leave the treasure space to cultivate in Transcending Heaven sect. He also let Bai Ling call out Xiao Mei-er. Lan Haiqing also left the treasure space. The moment Xiao Mei-er appeared, she looked at Su Fong with a cold gaze. In fact, it was indifferent to the extreme, not much different from stranger. It was the same as when Su Fong went to Zuan Pavilion and met Xiao Mei-er for the first time. She let Bai Ling lead the way, and they left the palace. After watching Xiao Meier leave, Su Fong was silent for a while before placing his attention on Lan Haiqing. Lan Haiqing immediately activated his aura. A shackling power immediately caused her young infant to tremble, and some poison spots appeared on her body. It was almost no different from disfigurement. She looked at Su Fong with a pained expression. "I have been cultivating in your treasure space, but I am still unable to remove the seal planted by the stone monsters in my body. You have to do it." Although it was painful, Lan Haiqing's gaze was resolute. She stubbornly buried the pain in her body. "This is the spirit mist world, and I'm also a bit worried. Seven-star child controls the stone monsters, so he naturally understands the seal in your body. I will first create a seal." Seeing Lan Haiqing in such pain and suffering day and night, Su Fong's mood was greatly affected. He immediately used the heavenly secret life shrinking art to create a barrier that covered the entire palace, cutting off any aura between him and Lan Haiqing. Su Fong had Lan Haiqing sit in the air and slightly released the heavenly devil unsealing seal. He urged, "Endure the pain. I will first remove the seal shackling your young infant, and then I will cleanse your body of the poison." At this moment, Lan Haiqing was clenching her teeth. The poison spots on her face had yet to disappear, and she was giving off a disgusting stench. She didn't have any of her former beauty. "I have long since gotten used to any kind of pain and humiliation under the stone monster's torture. My Tao heart only has myself, and the only thought left is to become a peerless immortal. From now on, no pain or distracting thoughts will be able to influence my thoughts. In the future, I will personally prove myself to Huang Lingyao." She had changed. The Lan Haiqing that appeared in front of Su Fong was the same as Xiao Meier. They were like two different people. Being tortured by the stone monsters for all these years had clearly changed her. Being able to survive until now was already something that ordinary people couldn't do. She stripped her young infant and immediately entered Lan Haiqing's Yuan Spirit Sea, floating outside her divine aperture. Lan Haiqing also activated his young nascent soul. Layers and layers of stone spirit demonic chi sealed his young nascent soul tightly like a golden bell, forming a very complicated intertwining state. It was clear that the stone monsters had spent a lot of effort to shackle her for the rest of her life. The more she activated her young infant, the more the seal would suppress it. If she resisted the seal would immediately tear her young infant to pieces. Strip! Su Fong's young infant turned into thousands of phantoms. What an extraordinary, great divine ability. Inside the divine aperture, Lan Haiqing's young infant saw all of this and suddenly had an idea. Its gaze changed slightly. "Teach me this Yuan spirit divine ability. If you can do as you said and have no impurities in your heart, then this heavenly devil disintegration seal is indeed the most suitable for you. After you cultivate it, you will definitely surpass me." Su Fong was startled. "Since that's the case, I will use the Yin Underworld Qi. While removing the seal, I will also send the Yin Underworld Qi into your divine aperture and body. You can use the Yin Underworld Qi to cultivate the heavenly devil disintegration seal, and it will be twice the result with half the effort." TSK. TSK. Countless young infants that were stripped out all executed the same hand seals. They then pressed down on the seal and slowly absorbed it into their bodies. Immediately, Lan Haiqing's young infant was greatly shaken and suffered a backlash. This was because the seals was sealing Lan Haiqing's young infant. Attacking the young infant would definitely cause a backlash. Inside the divine aperture, Lan Haiqing's young infant was constantly in a painful state of disappearing, splitting, and shattering. This lasted for several days. Finally, as the last layer of the seal disappeared, the divine aperture finally calmed down. Success. After letting out a sigh of relief, Su Fong directly released the yin-yang power. Fortunately, she had once fused with Lan Haiqing's primordial spirit and true qi, so there was still a portion of Su Fong's power left in her body. The yin-yang power emitted a devouring power that started attacking Lan Haiqing's countless meridians. A large amount of blood poison under different seals tightly sealed her meridians. She was simply unable to use much true qi and was unable to cultivate smoothly. At this moment, the process of stripping started. It was as painful as stripping a fused treasure from Lan Haiqing's body. Su Fang could empathize with this pain. She took out 3 goo worms and implanted them into Lan Haiqing's body, letting them absorb the blood poison that had seeped into her body. Detoxifying the poison was not a difficult matter. It only needed time. With Venerable Gu's help, with his ability, he could cleanse Lan Haiqing's blood poison completely in a short period of time. And with Su Fang's yin-yang power stripping, the time needed was shortened by 10 times. After a full month, Lan Haiqing was in a tense state. She used her fingernails to scratch her palms countless times. Under such pain, she really did not cry out. "Thank you." She let out a long sigh of relief, then fainted. He created a barrier and carefully placed Lan Haiqing inside. Then, he showed her the impotence pill that contained the immortal's blood essence and some immortal fruit's essence. It would probably take some time. Once she woke up, there would still be some blood poison in her body, but the goo worms would slowly devour the blood poison. After settling her down, Su Fang started to cultivate with all her might. Unknowingly, a year had passed. Heavenly Gourd Spiritual Tree, you are indeed honest. You took the initiative to provide me with energy to help me cultivate. Now, I have reached Immortal Realm Level 2 peak and am about to break through to Immortal Realm Level 3. Su Fang's eyes were shining brightly. His aura was unparalleled. When you return to the human emperor world, you will be free. But the prerequisite is that you have to cultivate in the human emperor world. You can only ascend to the great world in the human emperor world. This way, when you cultivate, you will bring endless spiritual energy to the human emperor world to nourish the world's power. Since I have submitted to you, I will serve you loyally. The heavenly gourd spiritual tree in the small heaven and earth immortal pot floated in the air, transmitting a deep thought to Su Fang. After leaving Crossing Heaven's sect, he set up a formation on a nearby island. He also allowed King Leech and the Big Goblin, who were hiding in Small Sky Demon Island, to come to the island and protect him. Even though this was the territory of the Spirit Mist World Lord, the 6 Lords of Fertility, he was very cautious. The heavenly tribulation immediately enveloped him, like a mighty army advancing. The undying tortoise slowly appeared, following the immortal light. It was very excited to see the heavenly tribulation. Soon, 3 heavenly tribulations descended from the sky. With Su Fang's current strength, it was almost 10 times stronger than the heavenly tribulation. He controlled one of the 3 heavenly tribulations and forced it into the undying tortoise's mouth like a coiling dragon. What kind of big goblin is that? What a terrifying demonic aura. Far away, in the continent of fertility, a pair of eyes were looking at the heavenly tribulation in the distance. At the end of the eyes was Yu Ying's thought. After a while, the 6 Lords of Fertility's thought descended. They were also very surprised. I have never seen such a huge big goblin in my life. Its strength is not comparable to the evil dragon that came out of the Xinjia Gate, but it is much bigger than the evil dragon. Chapter 795. Even the 6 Lords of Fertility were shocked, which made Yu Ying even more shocked. I feel that this big goblin is so powerful that it can swallow a small world. This means that Su Fang has some tricks up his sleeve. If he releases this big goblin, even the Realm Lord can't do anything to him in this small world. Master, you think too highly of Su Fang. Even if he's fusing with the human emperor world, there are still different levels among the thousands of Realm Lords. Not every Realm Lord is as powerful as Master and Realm Lord Zhuotian. My path is different from his, but this turtle demon's power is indeed shocking. I thought that I understood this galaxy very well, but I didn't expect such a big goblin to exist. Seeing the heavenly tribulation in the depths of the distant water region, the 6 Lords of Fertility seemed to have the power of a great circle. They could see Su Fang and the undying turtle clearly. Of course, this wasn't the power of a great circle, but the power of a Realm Lord. He could control this world and eventually reach the limit. allowing him to sense every corner. The heavenly tribulation was like thunder, causing huge waves to rise in the water region. Su Fong, who was under the heavenly tribulation, had already torn the heavenly tribulation to pieces. He looked at the undying turtle again and saw that it was being cleansed by the tribulation's power, attacking its physical body violently. Su Fong's physical body was also undergoing a transformation. His flesh, meridians, and even his bones were breaking. The power of advancement was rapidly destroying his physical body. This was an even stronger power that was cleansing his physical body. The pain lasted for a long time before it finally ended when the world calmed down. There were many impurities floating around him that looked like blood sand. After entering the third level of the feather transformation realm, the first thing he felt was no longer the power brought about by his breakthrough in the past, but a rhythm that merged with nature. Under the rhythm, one's breathing became one with heaven and earth. There were many impurities around his body. This kind of advancement could clearly see the transformation brought about by the feather transformation realm. Feather transformation realm for cultivators who had passed the catastrophe realm. They had reached the final stage of cultivation. It was similar to the so-called shedding one's shell and transforming one's form when the demon race cultivated. Throughout the catastrophe realm, one's physical body would be cleansed time and time again, constantly upgrading the physical body, increasing the space and toughness of the body furnace. After entering the feather transformation realm, the physical body was a brand new furnace. However, even though this furnace was brand new, enormous, and inconceivable, it was still a physical body, and it was shackling the physical body. In that case, the cultivation of the feather transformation realm was to completely shatter the furnace. Just like how a giant demon would use its huge demon body to obtain a body as small as a human's through cultivation, the feather transformation realm was to completely cleanse and strip a cultivator's mortal body. There were 10 levels of the ascension realm and 10 steps. Every advancement and tribulation was a stripping away of one's mortal body, allowing one's physical body to become as light as a feather. In other words, one was close to the height of an immortal. If this continued, the great tribulations after the 4th and 5th level of the feather transformation realm would bring great pain to the cultivators. If one successfully stepped into the fairy realm, then in ancient times, one would be considered a half-fairy. What is half immortal? With one foot in the small world and the other in the great world. After a long time, the immortal tortoise spoke slowly. "Kid, you have to find me a cultivation method that is truly suitable for me. My physical body is probably close to the 10th level, so a cultivation method would be the best. I will try my best to find the tortoise big goblin among the demons. You are too big, and there are very few powerful tortoise big goblin." Su Fong was really worried about this. For an existence like the heavenly horned giant striped tortoise, only the cultivation methods of the tortoise clan were perfect for it. It could also cultivate some of the cultivation methods obtained from the divine image jade annulus, but it would take many years before it could control its physical body freely. The man and the demon continued to improve their strength in the sky. The Green Lotus Sword Sect, the #1 force in the Wu-Tan realm. In the depths of the dojo, there were many immortal arrays hidden in the deepest secret realm of the Green Lotus Sword Sect. Sheng Changsheng is obedient. He helped me easily absorb the endless power accumulated by the Immortal Sealing Scripture from the Immortal Sealing Sect for 20,000 years, together with the cleansing power given by the 7-star child and my own inheritance. I am about to enter the second Tao disaster realm. A woman floated out of one of the immortal arrays. It was Huang Lingyao. She changed every day. Without any aura, she could release the speed of teleportation and pass through the mysterious and deep immortal arrays again and again. When she came to the deepest crystal barrier, she hesitated a little, as if she wanted to do something that couldn't be done easily. Once she took this step, it would be difficult to turn back. After a long time, she sighed inwardly. "Sword Spirit, I've thought about it. I'll give that treasure to the 7-star child. On one hand, he can help me break through the third Tao disaster realm in a few years and ascend to the great world with him. On the other hand, I could do my best to please him. That way, when I go to a foreign great world, I can rely on the 7-star child when I'm not strong enough to find my own inheritance dojo. A sword shadow flashed in her eyes. That purple chi dharma spirit is a broken magic treasure. There's only a small part of it, and most of it is missing. It's also difficult for Master to refine it. This kind of thing is tasteless. Since it's useless, it's better to use it to become stronger. Master did the right thing. The immortals probably have the ability to refine the purple chi dharma spirit. 7-star child will definitely be tempted when he sees such a treasure. After secretly communicating with the mysterious Yuan spirit, she decisively touched the last barrier. After waiting for half a day, the immortal formation released a door. The ladder went through the door and came to a natural cave. Everything inside was immortal chi of the great world. Every piece of soil and grass came from the great world. For Huang Lingyao, this place was the great world, a paradise. Her face couldn't hide her eagerness for all of this. In the center of the cave was a pool. No, it should be a spiritual pool. From the spiritual pool rose and drilled out a very strange true chi. As a result, it was absorbed by the 7-star child who was sitting cross-legged at the top. It seemed that the 7-star child was seriously injured. His aura was not strong. It was not as empty as before. The 7-star child lifted it lightly and said in a majestic voice, "Aren't you in a hurry to break through the last realm? What are you doing here?" When Ling Yao saw that Senior was seriously injured, I didn't feel good. I racked my brains to help Senior recover from his injuries and return to the great world as soon as possible. Fortunately, when I left the Zhuotian realm not long ago, I used the power Senior gave me to kill several enemies. In front of an immortal, Huang Lingyao was like an ordinary female cultivator. She nodded and said with respect, "Who knew that in the body of one of the powerful enemies, I found a secret treasure that should be regarded as a peerless magic treasure. Lingyao believes that it will definitely help Senior become stronger." At this time, the 7-star child's eyes slowly widened. "It's rare for you to have such thoughts. The stone monster under me died in the hands of Su Fong. It's a piece of trash. Now, I lack a personal maid. In the future, you can be my personal maid." Buzz. In the next second, Huang Lingyao took out a xianguang. Within the xianguang, there was a foot-long purple chi spirit. It was like a purple crescent moon. "Let me take a look." The experienced 7-star child was attracted by the purple chi spirit at first sight. He waved his hand and grabbed it. He saw that the purple chi spirit released an aura that was not below his immortal aura. This time, the 7-star child could not hide his joy of obtaining a treasure. His hands released an even more shocking immortal aura, which turned into immortal rune seals and began to merge with the purple chi spirit. It turned out that he couldn't wait to see what kind of treasure the purple chi spirit was. Huang Lingyao, who saw all of this, used her original soul's thoughts. Once Master gives such a treasure to the 7-star child, if he really has the means to refine this treasure and find it in the future, it will be even more difficult for Master to get rid of his control. If you don't sacrifice the child, you can't trap the wolf. Only by doing this can 7-star child help me become stronger. Even if he doesn't believe me, it will allow me to gain strength in a short time. Isn't it easy to kill him? Moreover, as one of the top 10 Dao artifacts in the immortal realm, it will be easy for you to kill the 7-star child. The 7-star child is a supreme in the small world, but in the great world, he is at most a nobody. Huang Lingyao smiled coldly. Bang! Who would have thought that the 7-star child, who was in the middle of activating his power to see what kind of treasure the purple chi dharma spirit was, would suddenly lose control of the purple chi dharma spirit's immortal light seal. The backlash from the purple chi dharma spirit instantly broke through. Suddenly, the purple light from the purple cloud dharma spirit swept out in all directions with the force of a tsunami. Oh no! The 7-star child was so shocked that he could not control his aura. It seemed that he had underestimated the power of the purple chi spirit. When he saw the purple chi seeping out of the immortal array, he had a bad look on his face. Suddenly, a purple aura arose from the center of the Green Lotus Sword sect. It turned most of the sunlight in the Green Lotus Sword sect's natural dojo into purple light. At this moment, many disciples were awakened by the purple aura. A disciple flashed out and looked through the fog in the valley. When he saw the purple aura, he was secretly shocked. Purple Chi Spirit. It's the purple Chi Spirit, who is forcefully merging with the purple Chi Spirit. Is it Huang Lingyao? This disciple of the Green Lotus Sword sect was actually Su Fang's clone that was hiding here. The clone quickly followed some disciples and flew to the center curiously. The purple aura also disappeared, deep in the forbidden area of the immortal array. Brother Seven Star, a young man, came to the immortal array and directly entered the Seven Star Child's cave. A young man? How was this a young man? He was clearly a living immortal, Holly. This person's cultivation and strength were very strong. The fact that he could live until now was enough to show that he was much stronger than ordinary immortals. What a treasure! He took another step and suddenly came to the side of the Seven-Star Child. He was attracted by the purple Chi Spirit at first glance. The purple Chi Spirit's aura was not strong or domineering, but its aura was extraordinary. It was very dazzling and sacred. At first glance, one could tell that it was not an ordinary treasure. In the eyes of the young man, Holly, there was a shocking desire to dominate. He seemed to want to immediately take the purple Chi Spirit away. But he steadied himself and even took a few steps back. Then he clapped his hands and cheered. Congratulations, Brother Seven Star, for obtaining such a precious treasure. I didn't expect that you would come to the lower realm specifically for the divine image Jade Annulus. You didn't get the Jade Annulus and also missed the opportunity to get the Shinja Gate. You even almost died under the power of the Shinja Gate. I didn't expect you to be so lucky to obtain such a treasure. I was just a little lucky. Sorry for my incompetence. The Seven-Star Child hurriedly absorbed the purple Chi Spirit into the aura of a Dharma treasure. He did not do anything else. Brother Holly, our injuries have recovered a little. Do you think we should return to the great world as soon as possible? Let's cultivate for a while more. You and I are worried that the Shinja Gate will come to the Wutan realm to take revenge on us. But even if it comes, we still have a chance to escape. If not, you and I are dignified immortals from the lower realm. We can't be scared out of our wits by a Dharma treasure in a small world. After the young man finished speaking, he nodded and left. Seven-Star Child, you're in big trouble now. Huang Lingyao, who was in the same situation, saw some clues. In fact, when she looked at the Seven-Star Child again, a few sharp vertical lines condensed on the immortal's face. Chapter 796. At the same time, in another world, the spiritual mist world. Oh, Su Fang, who had just stepped into the third level of the feather transformation realm and had cultivated for 2 years, suddenly noticed something. After a moment of shock, he sucked the undying turtle into the small universe fairy pot and immediately sent a thought to Yu Ying, then flew directly into the sky. Master, Su Fang wants to leave here. He said his clone appeared in the Wutan world, so he rushed over to take a look. In the secret realm deep in the rich continent, Yu Ying's thought was released, and it could be seen that her thought had merged with the entire boundary of the rich continent. As for the deeper parts, it must be the powerful 6 lords of rich continent. Soon, Su Fang was in the Milky Way, stepping on the starry daylight sword and increasing his speed to the extreme. In the Milky Way, his speed reached the level of teleportation. At this speed, in less than 10 days, he came from the spiritual mist world to the periphery of the Wutan world. He lay dormant, used his divine power, and merged with his clone's perception. He gradually saw everything inside the Green Lotus Sword sect, but at this time, the Green Lotus Sword sect was calm and peaceful. The purple cloud's Dharma spirit exploded in public. It's probably Huang Lingyao who got the purple cloud's Dharma spirit from Changsheng and began to try to refine it. With her cultivation, how could she succeed? That's why the purple cloud's Dharma spirit exploded and shocked the entire Green Lotus Sword sect. This hateful woman's methods are not only vicious, but also merged with the purple cloud's Dharma spirit. Since it caused such a shock, it must have made Seven-Star Child and Holly realize the extraordinariness of the purple cloud's Dharma spirit. In this way, the purple cloud's Dharma spirit fell into the hands of the two immortals. Huang Lingyao, I really can't treat you as a woman now. After a burst of anger, Su Fong calmed down and waited in the Milky Way outside the Wutan world. His clone lurked in the Green Lotus Sword sect as usual. He didn't know when he would find Seven-Star Child, Holly, and Huang Lingyao again. But from the current situation of the small world, the Xinjia Gate made all the immortals give up. These immortals from the lower world should return to the big world in a short time. Therefore, Seven-Star Child and Holly would eventually leave the small world in a very short time. These two immortals have discovered the purple cloud Dharma spirit. I reckon they've long forgotten about the divine image Jade Annulus on me. On a meteorite, Su Fong began to cultivate while sensing. He devoured all kinds of resources without restraint, and he didn't care about anything else. He wanted to reach the flying celestial realm in the shortest time possible. In order to increase his overall strength, he also allowed the 9-segment Earth Dragon, Tongtian Venerable Monster, Wooling Goblin, 9-headed Goblin King, and Brute Force Goblin King to cultivate using the Divine Jade Annulus. Other powerful big goblins, such as the Purple Wind Monster, could also cultivate using the Divine Jade Annulus. In this way, the Divine Image Jade Annulus became the most valuable cultivation treasure for the demon race. In terms of cultivation, the demon race was weak. This was also the area where they were most lacking compared to humans. The Celestial Jade Annulus could make up for this. It looked like Su Fong and the Celestial Jade Annulus were really fated. He, who had suppressed countless big goblin demons, had this kind of treasure that could make the big goblin stronger. If the big goblin was strong, then Su Fong's strength would be strengthened as a whole. After hibernating for a year, Yu Yingying also rushed over to watch the movements of the two immortals of the Wutan realm. During the long wait, no one knew when the Wutan realm would make a move. Su Fong was also thinking of a way to solve the problem of Xiao Mei-er. Xiao Mei-er was the same as Zhang Sun-ing and the others. She had lost her heart and was replaced by a rune, which was equivalent to being controlled by the Night Spirit cult. And she didn't know this. She didn't understand how the Night Spirit cult had silently extended their claws into the Zuan Pavilion and controlled so many upper echelons. If the rune in Mei-er's body is not resolved, won't the Night Spirit cult leader be able to sense my traces at all times? Especially if that rune continues for a long time, I don't know what kind of impact it will have on Mei-er in the future. Especially since Mei-er has no memories of the past and treats me like a stranger. If she cares too much, it will be self-defeating. This is really a headache. There's not enough time. It's a pity that the doppelganger can't be like the main body and casually obtain things that the main body can do. Seven-Star Child, Purple Chi Dharma Spirit, Human Emperor World, Xinyuan Empire, Doichi Sister by me. There are too many things that I can't solve. I have to get the Purple Chi Dharma Spirit as soon as possible and then deal with the Xinyuan Empire. Only by solving this huge threat can I have time to solve the problem of Sister Bai and Mei-er. If I can't solve it, I'm afraid it will be difficult for me to break through the 3 natural disasters, break the shackles of my heart, and become an immortal. It seemed that Su Fong was sitting cross-legged on the meteorite, without any worries. But in reality, he had too many problems and puzzles, and they were all problems that were difficult to solve at the moment. This hibernation lasted for 5 years. Fortunately, Su Fong's strength was almost at the peak of the 3rd tier of the Feather Transformation realm, and finally the news came. He and Yu Yingying urged the meteorite to slowly approach the starry sky above the Wutan realm. After waiting for a few days, 3 figures quietly left the Wutan realm and flew directly to the top of the Xing River. This was not something that ordinary cultivators could do. The higher the Xing River, the more amazing the power of the shackles. That was the passage to the big world. So these 3 figures were naturally extraordinary. Staring at the 3 figures, Yu Yingying wanted to get closer, but Su Fong stopped her. And I don't need to get too close. My doppelganger will follow Seven-Star Child and Holly from behind. The doppelganger only knows that they are leaving the Wu-Tan realm, but I don't know if they're going back to the big world or to a certain Xing River. What the doppelganger saw was what Su Fong saw. At this time, it was following behind the three of them. After a while, the doppelganger suddenly saw an immortal light explode from the three of them. Then, the other side of the Xing River that almost made it difficult for the cultivators of the mortal realm to fly immediately formed a vortex of immortal light. What's going on? Yu Yingying was really startled by such a big movement. It seems that two immortals are fighting each other. I'll let my doppelganger go closer to take a look. Su Fong immediately raised the power of the perfected stage and the power of his essence soul to the extreme. He controlled the doppelganger to get closer to the top and slowly saw that outside the ball of immortal light, Huang Lingyao was affected by some fluctuations, but she was not injured. He could not see Seven Star Child and Holly. The destructive immortal light seemed to have swallowed the two of them. When the doppelganger got closer, most of the immortal light also disappeared. At this time, he finally saw clearly that in the Xing River 10,000 meters in front of Huang Lingyao, Seven Star Child was covered in blood, and the immortal sword in his hand had cut off Holly's head. It was indeed two immortals fighting each other. Strange, really strange. Three immortals came down to the mortal realm, and Huang Yuran is dead. Holly and Seven Star Child should be allies. Why are they fighting each other here? The doppelganger muttered to himself, then suddenly formed a seal and flew to a meteorite. Then it hid behind the meteorite and gradually approached the Xing River above. At this time, his perfected stage hearing was also pushed to the extreme. He saw Seven Star Child aiming at Holly's heart and condensing an immortal fire sword aura, which pierced into Holly's heart and turned into a ball of flame, burning his heart. Whoosh! He heard Huang Lingyao fly over again. To be able to hear so clearly, the doppelganger was only a few miles away from them. Huang Lingyao flew to Seven Star Child's side and bowed very politely. Lord, Seven Star Child's breathing was heavy, and he was shaken. The body of an immortal was indeed terrifying. His breathing could cause waves of impact in his body. Holly is not simple. I was also seriously injured after killing him. This person is indeed an expert of the Yuan Lu Great World. Fortunately, my sneak attack was successful. Holly would never have thought that I would attack him. With my status, I naturally cannot compare to the Hua family's status in the Yuan Lu Great World. He did not expect that the severed head could still speak, but it was a little hysterical. Seven Star Child, if you dare to kill me, my Hua family will not let an immortal like you off. Oh, Seven Star Child was also quite surprised. You are indeed an expert. You are right. I did not dare to kill you, and because of this you neglected me, allowing me to succeed in my sneak attack. Why do you want to kill me? Don't you know why I want to kill you? When you first saw the purple Aura Dharma spirit, you wanted to take it for yourself. Very quickly you hid this thought. I guess you did not plan to attack me in the small world. Instead, you planned to return to the great world or attack me on the way. I was right, wasn't I? I was really careless. A lowly immortal like you from a small world has always bowed down in front of immortals like me. I didn't want to take the purple Aura Dharma spirit for myself, but I really underestimated you. The purple Aura Dharma spirit is not something you can possess or refine. If I can't refine it today, there are still countless years to come. I don't believe that I can't refine this treasure. The Hua family's experts will not let you go. Even if you are in the Xinao Great World, the Hua family's experts will find you. At this time, you still want to threaten me. The two great worlds may be in the same material plane, but there are countless factions. I am just an immortal who has ascended, an insignificant existence. How can a Hua family find me? I will not give you any chance. Your body will be consumed by the poison. From then on, there will be no more Holly in this world. How can a Hua family find out that I killed you? You will die a horrible death. Men die for wealth, and birds die for food. A treasure like the purple Aura Dharma spirit can help me become a peerless expert after I refine it. I can fight for this chance in the great world. So what if I offend the Hua family? Wealth comes from danger. This is a principle that has never changed in the cultivation world. die. His avatar unleashed all his power at the Great Perfection Realm and heard the conversation between Holly and Seven Star Child. Then, he heard Seven Star Child's roar. He immediately looked over and saw Seven Star Child releasing some power. Holly let out a cry of pain and then stopped moving. Whoosh, whoosh, Seven Star Child released his celestial light again and took Huang Lingyao deeper into the Milky Way. Soon, they disappeared in a ball of celestial light. Then he stopped breathing. Avatar, control Holly. His body is very useful to me. Su Fong and Yu Ying jumped out of the meteorite and teleported to the Milky Way in the sky. He quickly ordered his avatar to go after Holly's body. Half an hour later, the avatar reached the Milky Way in the sky. It was not even as fast as an undying realm cultivator. At this time, Su Fong and his avatar saw at the same time that Holly's body had been corroded by the poison. He was burned by the poison until only a few bones were left. 2 hours later, the two arrived at the avatar's location. Holly's last bone had turned into dust in front of them. Yu Ying pointed at the last ball of poisonous smoke that disappeared. There is still a celestial talisman left. When the poisonous smoke dispersed, it was indeed a celestial pattern. Yu Ying was not interested because the celestial pattern's aura was not strong. She guessed that it was not a Dharma treasure. Su Fong put away the celestial pattern. He was not in a mood to study it for now. He looked at the dispersing poisonous smoke and said helplessly, "If I can get Holly's body or shackle this immortal before he dies, I will have an immortal slave. Or I can take Holly's body to the Yuan Fortune Great World. It will be very useful." Chapter 797. If such an immortal dies, then so be it. It would be best if he dies cleanly. If the force behind him finds us, we will not be able to escape responsibility. Yu Ying, however, did not understand Su Fong's intentions. She scoffed and said, "Don't leave his immortal talisman behind. If you bring it to the Yuan Fortune world and the formidable martial artists behind this immortal find out, they will cut you into pieces. I will take it back and study it." That immortal talisman. It was hidden in Holly's body. It was definitely something precious to him. It was most likely related to his clan in the Great World. Yu Ying naturally understood. If it was anyone else, they would not want to obtain this immortal talisman. The reason Su Fong cared so much about Holly's life was because of the Purple Chi Law Spirit. This time, the Purple Chi Law Spirit was the main reason why Holly ended up like this. Su Fong had wanted to hide his clone in Wu Tan World and find an opportunity to snatch Sheng Chongsheng from Huang Lingyao, taking back the Purple Chi Law Spirit. But a moment ago, he could only watch as Seven Star Child took Huang Lingyao away and disappeared from this small world. The Purple Chi Law Spirit was also certain to be in Seven Star Child's hands. If he used the immortal talisman left behind by Holly, he might be able to take back the Purple Chi Law Spirit from the Great World. Yu Ying wanted to leave this starry sky. These immortals all died in this small world. So be it, I will leave. This way, my spirit mist world will not be sealed at all times. The two immediately flew towards Spirit Mist World. The first thing they did after returning to Spirit Mist World was to meet the 6 Lords of Fertility and tell them about the previous scene. The 6 Lords of Fertility praised them. This way, Spirit Mist World would not be threatened by immortals at all times. Su Fong returned to Crossing Heaven's sect. He wanted to use this chance to break through, but he did not know that a thought was transmitted to him from the distant Star River. After learning the contents, he went to see Yu Ying. He wanted to return to Human Emperor World. Before leaving, he gathered his clansmen, Bai Ling, Xiao Mer, Lan Haicheng, Venerable Gu, and the others, and sent them into his storage space. As for the remaining Crossing Heaven sect disciples, he let them stay here to refine yang, strengthening pills. Su Fong also left behind an astonishing amount of yang energy, enough to refine medicinal pills for several hundred years. Yu Ying guessed that Su Fong must have something important to do, so she didn't ask any questions and directly sent him out of the Spirit Mist World. Su Fong and Bai Ling then traveled through the depths of the galaxy. Doi Chi and the immortals of the Xinyuan Empire have indeed descended to the lower domain. Furthermore, Doi Chi, under the leadership of the immortal primordial realm, uprooted the five poisons divine sect's various religious altars and severely injured the Lord of Five Poisons. They had been flying for several months. Fortunately, they had Bai Ling's talent. With the two of them working together, their speed had always been at the peak of teleportation, because something big had happened to the Five Poisons divine sect, especially since the Lord of Five Poisons had been severely injured and was being chased by the immortals, fleeing to the human emperor world. Previously, that intent had been transmitted by Sister Yu, and it had mentioned that the Five Poisons divine sect had been completely destroyed by Doi Chi. Tens of thousands of sect members had been massacred, and only a portion of the experts had escaped. It turned out that Doi Chi and the immortals of the Xinyuan Empire had indeed descended to the lower domain. Furthermore, the immortal who had severely injured the Lord of Five Poisons this time was Xian Xiangsheng's older brother, Xian Daotian. This news was the reason why Su Fong was rushing Yi Xinghua back to the human emperor world. Soon, he crossed the immortal primordial realm and saw the primordial god world in the distance. He also contacted Li Ziqing and the Green Feather Monarch in time. They were waiting for the Lord of Five Poisons and Sister Yu midway, and had successfully met up. When Su Fong arrived at the debris galaxy that had blocked the human emperor world in the past, he saw a large number of primordial god emperor's troops and Doi Chi's experts. All these years, they had never given up on searching for the whereabouts of the human emperor world. They had even cleared out a lot of passages in this star river. It was really painstaking. They probably wanted to investigate every corner of this star river fragment. 3 months later, Su Fong entered the endless nebula galaxy behind him. Master, Su Jinhua brought Elder He Zun, Elder Song Hao, and more than a dozen experts to welcome Su Fong. After another half a day, they finally arrived in the sky above the human emperor world. At this time, the barrier of the human emperor world was even sturdier. It was probably under the leadership of Li Ziqing, who had used the power of many experts to reinforce the barrier at all times. It was because of Li Ziqing and the Green Feather Monarch that Su Fong could leave the human emperor world without worry. As soon as he entered the human emperor world, a large number of experts followed Li Ziqing, the Green Feather Monarch, and Li Haojie to welcome Su Fong. After exchanging a few pleasantries, they flew directly to the city in the human emperor world. In these years, the human emperor world was still desolate, but the sandstorms were not as fierce as before. The world's spiritual chi was also much more abundant. It was different with the protection of the world barrier. The auras of tens of thousands of experts could be clearly sensed by Su Fong the moment he released his senses. Coming to the depths of the city, everyone escorted Su Fong into a barrier. In front of the barrier, Sister Yu and a dozen experts of the Five Poison Divine sect were sitting cross-legged and recuperating. When they saw Su Fong, they all stood up to welcome him. Su Fong hurriedly asked, "How is Sect Master?" "Not so good," Sister Yu stammered, choking with sobs. "In order to protect us, Master forcibly blocked an immortal's attack. Although his physical body is not in danger, who knows how many years it will take for him to recover." Green Feather King said, "We have already worked together to activate the formation, but the infusion of true chi and magic power doesn't seem to be of much help. Sect Master's body is riddled with holes, and his young infant is also in a deep sleep. He can only maintain the ability to maintain his lifeline. Everyone, don't be anxious. Right now, we have to let the big goblin lead the human emperor world deeper into the Star River. The immortals of the Xinyuan Empire and Doi Chi will not let this matter rest. Senior Peng King, lead the big goblin to handle this matter." Everyone's mood was very low. Su Fong came to the center and released a ray of light in front of Green Feather King. Big Goblin appeared one after another. Hundreds of them were immediately led out of the formation by Green Feather King. He also let Li Ziqing bring Su Jinhua, Qin Yuan Ho, Red Lotus, and the rest, as well as the experts of the Five Poison Divine sect, out of the space. He also let Xiao Mei Lan Haicheng, his clansman, Venerable Gu, and the rest leave the artifact space and told exalted Master Yuzhan to settle them down. Only Su Fong and Sister Yu were left in the space. The two of them carefully stepped into the seal at the center. Inside the seal was a shocking amount of 5 poisons true qi. At the center was a spiritual platform made of countless spirit stones. The bloody lord of the 5 poisons was lying on top of it. Abundant spiritual qi was like smoke that slowly entered his body. Was this still the lord of the 5 poisons? Let alone his body. Even his face was impossible to recognize. If it weren't for some non-poisonous, true qi seeping out of his flesh, there was no way this was the lord of the 5 poisons. Su Fong was furious. Inwardly, heavens is too ruthless. Sister Yu's tears didn't stop. Finally, when there was no one around, she cried. Inwardly, although heavens ascended 10,000 years ago, he is still an immortal. His strength is greater than Master's. Master blocked several of his attacks, and in the end, he was heavily injured by a Dao item. Su Fong didn't console her. He released his perception and suddenly sensed something. Why is there something in the sect master's flesh and meridians? Sister Yu used her poisonous qi to push aside some of the flesh and blood. There were blood goo, horned scorpion, white toad, silver snake, and spirit spider. These were the 5 poisons of the 5 poisons divine sect, but they weren't frightening. They were also very small, only the size of sesame seeds. Furthermore, they were all blood red. Su Fong clicked his tongue in wonder. These are the 5 poisons' true bodies. Blood goo, horned scorpion, white toad, silver snake, and spirit spider. They actually have the life aura of the sect master, as well as some of his consciousness. Furthermore, these poisonous creatures are absorbing the energy within the sect master's flesh and blood. Why is that? This is the first 5 poisons' true body of our sect. My master is a peerless genius, and the 5 poisons' true body's miraculous aspect is that it can transform the countless blood goo, horned scorpion, white toad, silver snake, and spirit spider that it has refined over countless years into its bloodline and blood essence. Once the body is heavily injured, the 5 poisons' true body will devour the body's energy. They will then devour each other, causing the body's energy to gather in the 5 poisons' true body. In the end, it will be devoured by the jade snake residing in the depths of Master's mind. It's really miraculous. This way, even if the sect Master's body is torn into pieces, as long as the blood essence is there, he can recover. Indeed, but the young nascent soul and the primordial spirit must not be destroyed. If the primordial spirit is gone, only the jade snake with no consciousness will be left. Back then, you also saw Master's resurrection. 100,000 years ago, Master was ambushed by the power of the Xinyuan Empire's immortals from the upper realm. In the end, he died. However, before he died, he secretly let the jade snake extract a part of his primordial spirit and escape. The jade snake kept the 5 poisons' true body and his primordial spirit before finally using the reincarnation technique to resurrect. The sect master is an almighty expert. Doesn't that mean that the sect master also has an immortal body? You don't have to be so worried. You're still making sarcastic remarks. I'm just telling the truth. Then can you help? Sister Yu was so angry that she stopped crying. Instead, she wanted to teach Su Fong a lesson. However, she resisted the urge to do so. Su Fong seemed to be confident. The sect master has the 5 poisons' true body. As you said, as long as the primordial spirit is there, there won't be any danger. The 5 poisons' true body will recover on its own. However, from the looks of it, it won't be able to condense a new body without 1,000 years. What I can help the sect master now is to shorten the time and let the sect master recover in the shortest time possible. Can you do that? Yes, it's a coincidence. Who asked me to have a certain amount of yang energy? The foundation of any life is yang energy. However, yang energy is not enough. We still need yin and yang energy to complement each other and stimulate the growth of life force. Step back. I'll start now. Time was of the essence. The impact of losing a peerless expert at this juncture was indescribable. Su Fong immediately activated the 9-yang true qi in his body and accelerated the absorption of the 9-yin true qi from the primordial chaos sacred realm. The two merged forces surged out from his palms and turned into an indescribable luster. He also extracted a few drops of the immortal's blood essence and condensed it for a few days. Only then did the blood-colored yin and yang energy enter the sect master's mind. Slowly, through the countless meridians and nerves in the depths of the sect master's mind, he began to cleanse the impurities. The cleansing he was doing now was the basic cultivation that every cultivator had experienced. All of this was like threading a needle. He wanted to connect the large number of broken meridians and flesh that densely covered the sect master's body. The power that connected the meridians was the yin and yang energy. A large number of the 5 poison spiritual creatures in the flesh, the blood-venomous insect, the horned scorpion, the white toad, the silver snake, and the spirit spider, were also beginning to be affected by the yin and yang energy. They no longer devoured the energy in the flesh and blood. Instead, they spat out the energy that they had absorbed and fused it with the flesh. The 5 poison true body was really amazing. This was the subconsciousness that the sect master had left in the 5 poison. When it was used, the 5 poison spiritual creatures combined with the yin and yang energy to repair the body. It was not abandoning the severely injured body. If it wasn't for Su Fong, the only way for the hierarch to recover was to let the 5 venoms absorb all the energy, abandon the physical body, and create a new physical body. Of course, the best way was to seize the physical body of a strong cultivator and be directly reincarnated. However, with Su Fong, he did not need to abandon his powerful body. Although he was seriously injured, the sect master had worked hard to cultivate this body over the years. It would be a pity to give it up. After nearly 2 years, under Su Fong's cleansing, the yin and yang energy intertwined to form a yin and yang human-shaped body finally condensed. However, this was only the beginning. Under Su Fong's strong urging of the yin and yang energy, the body, meridians, and broken bones began to be cleansed and regenerated. Chapter 798. In just a few years, the body of the Lord of 5 Poisons was shrouded in the power of yin and yang, and it was undergoing earth-shaking changes. Sister Yu, who had been guarding at the side, was in disbelief. What kind of power is this? Yang power is so domineering that it can actually allow the 5 Poisons' true body to be reborn in such a short time. This is a unique power that I obtained by accident. I was able to reach my current height from a mortal in a few hundred years because of this power. Don't worry, the sect master will soon condense a new body. 5 Poisons true qi. After replying, Su Fong began to condense new power. The 5 Poisons true qi formed by the blood goo, horned scorpion, white toad, silver snake, and spirit spider fused with the majestic immortal qi, and then poured into the body of the Lord of 5 Poisons. He also summoned the Rakshasa jade bottle and released the essence of the 5 Poisons true qi. With the 5 Poisons true qi, the sect master's fusion with the power of yin and yang could be said to be terrifying. After a long while, Su Fong's brows furrowed in relief. Su Fong turned and said, "Sister Yu, it's about time. Now the sect master has reached the state of self-recovery. I estimate that he will recover in less than 3 years, because he has not abandoned his previous body. After recovering, as long as the sect master increases his true qi, he will be able to reach his previous strength. Moreover, with the immortal qi, the sect master's strength should also reach the height of hundreds of thousands of years ago. I don't know how to thank you." She cried again, but this time with a smile and excitement. The sect master and I can be considered as friends of life and death. This is nothing. After giving some instructions, he left this space. When he came to the square in the center of the city, Green Feather King and Li Zuching brought Li Haojia, Su Jinhua, Exalted Master Yuezhen, Grand Elder Hong Lian, Grand Elder Bronze, Grand Elder He Zun, Grand Elder Zhang Feng, Xuan Jin Nun, Holy Monarch Wang Zhao, Elder Tsong Hao, Jin Shankong, Elder Juedao, and other experts to welcome him. In the square, nearly 60,000 experts were quietly waiting for Su Fang's arrival. After years of cultivation in the mortal emperor world, whether it was the experts suppressed by Su Fang himself, or the slaves who were suppressed by the Xinyuan Empire, or the experts who were directly suppressed by the Xinyuan Empire, they had all submitted to Su Fang and were determined to be loyal to Su. Moreover, in these years, the overall strength of tens of thousands of people had greatly improved, and the strength of Holy Monarch Guangzhou, Qin Yuanhou, Jin Shankong, and the other experts had also stepped into the second calamity stage, or even the third calamity stage. Big shots like Grand Elder Heizun, who had stepped into the third calamity stage early, were now at the peak of the flying celestial realm, and were on par with experts like Master Heiyun. Su Fang's gaze swept over the tens of thousands of people present. Although he wasn't angry, he radiated an air of majesty. Everyone looked up at him. Then he slowly said, "I've called you here today to tell you some news. The Xinyuan Empire and the Doichi Empire have sent immortals down to the mortal world. Presumably, they've already begun their search for the mortal emperor world and are planning to take it back from me. It's only a matter of time before a major war breaks out between the two organizations. In front of you, those two organizations are like two insurmountable mountains. However, I'm confident that I can flatten them. Today, I would like to pass down two of the most powerful techniques of the Xinyuan Empire and the Doichi Empire to each of you. The Xinyuan Empire's technique is called the Sage Emperor God Origin Scripture, and it's one of the most powerful techniques of the Imperial clan in the primordial god world. In this river of stars, it's definitely a top energy art. It contains the Sage Sovereign's Fist, the Heavenly Sage Tyrant Body, and many other powerful divine abilities. As for the Doichi Empire's technique, I'm sure you're all familiar with it. It's called the Limitless Taoist Magic, and it contains the Limitless Clone, the Cosmos God Descent, the Limitless Prime Clarity Sword Formation, and other powerful divine abilities. The Sage Emperor God Origin Scripture and the Limitless Taoist Magic are secret techniques that are never passed down to outsiders. In the eyes of the primordial god world and the Doichi Empire, they're priceless treasures. But today, in front of all of you, I would like to pass down these two techniques to you. There are cultivators from the Tao of devils among you, and I will bestow upon you the blood of the true devil. You will become boundless true devils, and when you go to a higher world, you will become true devils of heaven. I also have the Heaven Devil Codex, a consummate energy art of the devil folk. Of course, the Heaven Devil Disintegration Seal is not suitable for cultivation by the righteous Tao, but I'm sure you all know how powerful it is. In addition to giving you techniques, I will also place a boundless Tao item, the godly image Jade Annulus, in the depths of the Aegis. If you encounter any bottlenecks, you can use the godly image Jade Annulus to cultivate. Furthermore, from this day on, you will have an inexhaustible supply of immortal spirit energy for your cultivation. In short, the mortal emperor world is not just going to fight back against the two major powers. My goal is to take over the primordial god world and the immortal primordial world. Therefore, I will spare no expense to help you all grow stronger. In the coming years, the big goblin will be guiding the mortal emperor world through the nebulous starry river. In order to avoid being detected by the experts of the Xinyuan Empire and the Doichi Empire, we will continue to grow stronger. Now, everyone draw on your nascent divinities. Every word and sentence was like thunder, reverberating in the air above the square. During this time, the tens of thousands of people were already dumbfounded. Even the big shots behind Su Fang were in disbelief. No one would have thought that Su Fang would be so selfless as to pass on his peerless techniques to everyone. This was a magnificent feat that had never been heard of since the beginning of time. Master, Master, Master! Tens of thousands of people suddenly erupted into a tsunami of shouts that shook the world. Not only did he want to pass on a peerless technique, but he also took out a Tao item for everyone to cultivate. Even immortals could not have such means and breadth of mind. Immediately, Li Ziqing, Su Jinhua, Sage Monarch Broad Illumination, Qin Yuanhou, Grand Elder Heizun, Jin Chankong, Xuan Jinnun, and other experts released their nascent divinities. Su Fong used the Heaven Devil disintegration seal to strip off a large amount of young nascent souls, which turned into tens of thousands of Xianguang and entered the minds of all the cultivators present. For a moment, each expert had a Su Fong in their minds. Su Fong imparted the Heaven Devil disintegration seal, the sage Emperor God origin scripture, and the limitless Taoist magic into the young, nascent souls of the experts. Not only did he impart the techniques, but also Su Fong's understanding of the three major energy arts. 3 days later, he finished imparting the techniques to tens of thousands of people and dispersed with satisfaction. Su Fong and King Greenfeather also went to the depths of the city. King Peng didn't need to cultivate these techniques. The Heaven Devil disintegration seal was of some help to him. After all, the big goblin's cultivation of divine abilities was not as useful as cultivating one's innate talent and demonic body. Not every big goblin had the ability of sovereign heavenspan. In the depths of the city, Su Fong and King Greenfeather pierced through the ground until they reached the Earth's core, which happened to be the quintessence of the mortal yellow world. The area of the space was not shocking. Su Fong calculated and immediately used a cutting force that contained the power of a Tao treasure to cut the ground above. Large pieces of rock were cut off, and the pieces were temporarily sucked into the mini heaven and earth immortal pot by Su Fong. Roughly 3 months later, Su Fong actually carved out a large skylight from the Earth's core. From the Earth's core, one could directly see the sky. King Greenfeather clicked his tongue in wonder. The Heaven Gourd Spirit Tree was formed from the quintessence of the mortal Emperor world over countless years. If it was planted in the mortal Emperor world, it would only take a few hundred years for the mortal Emperor world to undergo shocking changes. Su Fong was planning to plant the Heaven Gourd Spirit Tree in the mortal Emperor world. It was something that Su Fong had wanted to do for a long time, but had only just been able to accomplish. A beam of immortal light shot out. The immortal light extended from the quintessence all the way to the ground. Suddenly, an incomparably shocking green object appeared in the immortal light. When the immortal light disappeared, it revealed the Heaven Gourd Spirit Tree that had shocked countless cultivators in the past. Su Fong also looked up at the Heaven Gourd Spirit Tree, full of excitement. This is my mortal Emperor world. Next, you have to cooperate with me and merge your roots with the quintessence of the mortal Emperor world. From now on, you will take root here. When you have merged with the mortal Emperor world to a certain extent, I will give you the divine image jade annulus to cultivate. Your goal is to become an immortal, right? The Heaven Gourd Spirit Tree said, "Your divine image jade annulus is incomparably miraculous. It is of great help to my spiritual beings and the cultivation of the demon race. It seems that meeting you wasn't my misfortune. Don't worry, with my huge spiritual body, even with the divine image jade annulus, it will take 1,000 years for me to shed my shell and transform. In this 1,000 years, I will bring prosperity to the mortal Emperor world." It's good that you understand. Let's begin. Mortal Emperor world's quintessence. Inherit the god power. King Greenfeather stepped back. Su Fong sat down cross-legged. After spreading his arms, he immediately began forming hand seals. After forming hand seals, the world's spiritual chi in the quintessence began to drill into the Heaven Gourd Spirit Tree. After a while, the Heaven Gourd Spirit Tree's roots began to slowly grow toward the quintessence. In order to speed up, Su Fong's arms turned into vines. After fusing with the Heaven Gourd Spirit Tree, the roots began to grow faster. At this moment, King Greenfeather saw a shocking scene. Countless tentacles grew, making the Heaven Gourd Spirit Tree look like a snake nest. The Spirit Tree was a huge spirit snake, and the roots were like newborn snakes. They stretched out their bodies, looking for food, searching for a new world. King Greenfeather applauded. Su Fong has such a would attribute divine ability. I wonder how terrifying his power will be when he becomes an immortal in the future. After a few years, the majority of the Heaven Gourd Spirit Tree's roots had drilled into the quintessence's core, barely managing to take root. Su Fong was exhausted. In the end, after planting a large amount of immortal spiritual qi and immortal stones, Su Fong and King Greenfeather left the Earth's core. As soon as they flew out of the ground, even Su Fong himself was shocked. Before, in this desolate Renhuang world, there were only rocks and yellow sand. The only existence was the base camp he built. But now, in the yellow sand near the headquarters, there was a spirit tree that was thousands of feet tall. It seemed lonely, but under the rising aura of the yellow sand and the fiery atmosphere, it seemed like it was going to burn the heavenly gourd spirit tree in an instant. The heaven gourd spirit tree tenaciously emitted spiritual qi that could be seen with the naked eye, merging with the world of the Renhuang world. The heaven gourd spirit tree did not expect to grow leaves and begin to accept the Renhuang world so quickly. King Greenfeather looked up at the heaven gourd spirit tree, watching the spiritual qi released by the spirit tree gradually dominate the natural sky of the Renhuang world. He couldn't help but exclaim, "Boy, your feat will become a legend of this small world." It's nothing compared to Li Tianjua in the past. Planting the heaven gourd spirit tree is easy, but protecting the Renhuang world is the real challenge. Su Fong was also very happy. There will be a fierce battle. Our opponents are immortals, and killing immortals is almost impossible. But as long as we continue to grow stronger and work together, we can make the impossible possible and reverse the sky. Haha, go with the flow of the living. Go against the flow of the immortals. King Greenfeather couldn't help but roar. Go with the flow of the living. Go against the flow of the immortals. No matter if it's a demon, a human, or a spiritual being, any weak life form in this world should defy the heavens and change their fate. Suddenly, a vast future slowly unfolded in front of Su Fong. Chapter 799. After settling down the tree, Su Fong and Greenfeather King immediately went to the top of the Human Emperor World's barrier. Floating at the top of the barrier, they could see more than 1,000 big goblins in the galaxy. Under the leadership of the Big Goblin, the Nine-Headed Goblin King, the Brute Force Goblin King, and the Purple Wind Goblin, they were slowly migrating the Human Emperor World. Looking at the Zhuotian world again, the overall power of the world was becoming richer. This was the change brought about by the Heavenly Gourd Tree. Unfortunately, Su Fong was not an immortal yet. If it were an immortal, they would be able to unleash the unparalleled power of the wood element and make this desolate small world grow countless living plants in a very short period of time. A figure flew up from below. Li Haojie said, "Brother Fong." Su Fong nodded. "Brother Li, you should also hurry up and cultivate. We don't have much time. Soon, we will fight the Xinyuan Empire and Doichi. I brought you more than 3,000 big goblin. While you were gone, I left the Human Emperor world alone and went to several small worlds to capture many big goblin. Is that so? But there are no big goblin like the Nine-Headed Goblin King. No problem. I'm lacking big goblin right now. How about this? You let the 3,000 big goblin in charge of migrating the Human Emperor world. I will call them back to the Xianhuang Six-Path Pagoda to help me cultivate. No problem. Anyway, I will suppress the 3,000 big goblin one by one. They can't do anything." After that, Li Haojie and Su Fong discussed and took action together. Su Fong sucked the 1,000 big goblin back into the treasure space. Li Haojie went out of the galaxy and used the power of the Dao artifact to shoot out dense big goblin. Their overall strength was not bad between the Ascension Realm and the Ascension Realm. Using them to migrate the Human Emperor world was not a problem. Senior. Su Fong suddenly looked at the scene in front of him and then at the Nebula world. He said to Greenfeather King, "We have to think of a way to strengthen our forces again. With our current strength in the Human Emperor world, it is impossible to fight two forces at the same time. What do you think?" Greenfeather King agreed. "Not yet, but I have some ideas. Let's go back and think about it." After the 3,000 big goblin began to move the Human Emperor world, the three of them replied to the array formation in the city. Who would have thought that after a few years, he would actually sense the familiar 5 poison Jinqi, which was extremely powerful. He led the masters and entered the depths of the enchantment with Su Fong. Immediately, they were overjoyed. They stared in shock at the Lord of Five Poisons, who was sitting cross-legged in mid-air and had already recovered his physical body. The Lord of Five Poisons became unfathomable once again. After he stopped cultivating, he landed on the ground in front of everyone. Su Fong, I owe you a huge favor this time. Without your help, I wouldn't have been able to obtain a physical body within a few hundred years. Great! Green Feather King came to the center and looked at everyone. Su Fong was just thinking of a way for the human emperor world to deal with the Xinyuan Empire and the Doi Qi. Now that the sect master is fine, we can discuss this matter. Qin Yuan Ho took a step forward. The Xinyuan Empire and the Doi Qi are two fierce tigers. I'm not trying to discourage you, but there's no way we can fight them head-on. I think so too, Master. Even Su Jinhua had a serious expression. He bowed to Su Fong. I was once adopted by Emperor Xinyuan, so I know how strong the Xinyuan Empire is. They have 1 million soldiers and countless cultivators. They have far more flying immortals than the human emperor world. They also have a national treasure, the astrolabe immortal sword. Once Emperor Xinyuan activates the power of his world, coupled with countless cultivators, even an immortal won't be able to casually destroy the Xinyuan Empire. They're that powerful. Li Ziqing was clearly surprised. Everyone also felt like a big stone was stuck in their hearts. Su Jinhua bowed to everyone. They're even more powerful than what I just said. In order to consolidate the position of the Xinyuan Empire, generations of immortals ascended to the outside world, and they've been constantly transferring all kinds of power from the outside world, making the Xinyuan Empire's royal family rich. They also have a lot of Dao artifacts, such as the Yuan refining immortal bead that Master seized, the national treasure, the astrolabe immortal sword, the spirit camel immortal cauldron, and so on. The Xinyuan Empire also has a lot of resources, and there are probably various methods left behind by the immortals. Su Fong listened and didn't have much of a reaction. He called out one of the elders. Elder Tsang Hao, you're an elder of the Doi Qi. Tell us about the Doi Qi situation and let everyone understand. It turned out to be an expert from the Doi Qi, Elder Tsang Hao. As an elder of the Doi Qi, I have a rough understanding of the Doi Qi situation. This Doi Qi is the #1 force in the immortal primordial domain, and it's naturally a force that the immortal primordial domain Lord secretly nurtured and supported. I heard that the origin of the Doi Qi was an ancient scroll from the outside world that recorded the limitless Tao art. That ancient scroll also said that the origin of the limitless Tao art was in the outside world, and the origin of the limitless Tao art was also a major force in the outside world. Under the expectant gazes of everyone, Elder Tsang Hao spoke tirelessly. These can't be proven, but the Doi Qi has hundreds of thousands of disciples, and there are many flying immortal realm experts. The current sect master is also a supreme expert, and geniuses have sprung up like bamboo shoots after a spring rain. The Doi Qi has been thriving for tens of thousands of years, and its foundation is astonishing. It also has a Dao artifact, and the current sect master can activate a Dao artifact to protect the entire Doi Qi's boundary. His ability is unimaginable. One is like a wolf, and the other is like a tiger. Li Ziqing clenched his fists, unable to come up with a solution. However, he gestured to everyone. Everyone, don't be anxious. Let's think about our own advantages. The mortal emperor world is not weak, and everyone here is a capable person. At this time, the Lord of Five Poisons spoke. Everyone else fell silent when he spoke. After all, he was the only one here who had lived for tens of thousands of years, and he was facing the Xinyuan Empire and the Doi Qi head-on. The Lord of Five Poisons said solemnly, "With our current strength, we can't compete with the two great powers. It's not just the Doi Qi, but the entire immortal primordial realm. Our enemies are the two great worlds. Now, for immortals have descended. One of the Doi Qi is called Xian Dao Tian, and the 3 immortals from the primordial god world have descended. 2 of them are royal experts of the Xinyuan Empire who have ascended to a great world in the past tens of thousands of years. One of them seems to be from a great world. Therefore, we should hide from the 2 great powers now and think of ways to strengthen our strength and foundation. We need to have the comprehensive strength to compete with the two great powers, but with the few of us, it's difficult to deal with one power. Green Feather King condensed thrones and gestured for everyone to sit down. Everyone, sit down and think about what the Sectmaster said. The experts all sat down. They came from different worlds and different powers. Their experiences and cultivation were different, but they were all capable people. They were not scared by the two great powers. After a long silence, Su Jinhua looked at Su Fang. We can either rely on ourselves or find support. There's a small world that can support us and help us deal with the two great powers. Su Fang immediately shook his head. There's no way we can contact anyone. We have to rely on ourselves in the end. First, Elder He Zun bared his teeth and said, if we have the foundation of a small world like the primordial god world or the immortal primordial realm, we won't have to rack our brains to think of a good way. If that's the case, we can go to the other small worlds and wantonly suppress the powers and experts. We can forcefully pull them into our human emperor world. At this moment, the Lord of Five Poisons suddenly had an idea. Back then, our sect led the experts of our divine sect, but we were also forced into a corner by the two great powers. Later, we also suppressed the experts while absorbing the young geniuses. In the end, we were able to contend with the two great powers for many years. If we can't find any allies or help, we'll do it ourselves. This Su Fang, who had been in deep thought all this while. The main point that everyone was talking about was none other than external forces. With the current strength of the human emperor world, it was impossible to deal with the two great powers. However, if the human emperor world had the foundation of the other small worlds, they wouldn't have to be afraid of the two great powers at all. They just needed to deal with one. This was the main point. At this moment, Su Fang's eyes lit up. He immediately stood up, causing everyone to look at him in shock. I think I have a way to deal with them. However, this method is also very risky. It's also a huge project. If it's completed and realized, we can directly deal with the two great powers. Is that so? Everyone immediately stood up and gathered around him without prior consultation. Previously, after the storm of the Xinjia Gate, the Zhuotian realm was almost destroyed because of it. It became a desolate planet. How many lives died under the power of the immortals? At that time, countless experts died under the hands of the immortals. However, most of those immortals also died under the power of the Xinjia Gate. Of course, it wasn't just the immortals who died under the Tao artifact. There were also realm lords. For example, the realm lord of the Beichen Zone and the realm lord of the Wutan realm. Without the realm lord, these small worlds are temporarily in a blank state. Even if the next realm lord is born, he won't be that strong. Even if he uses the power of a small world, he won't be so strong that he can't be defeated. Taking advantage of the fact that the realm lord has fallen and the small worlds are in such a state, we can directly attack these small worlds that aren't as strong as the primordial god world and the immortal primordial realm. We can swallow up a few small worlds and then gather expert from small worlds. Finally, we'll kill our way back here to deal with the primordial god world and the Doichi. After that, we'll think of a way to get rid of the four immortals. Without the support of the immortals, Su Fang isn't afraid of the Xinyuan Empire and the Doichi at all. Even if they have Tao artifacts, the primordial god emperor won't be able to kill me, even if I'm at the third level of the feather transformation realm. But immortals are different. Immortals are invincible. According to my plan, we can successfully obtain a few small worlds and have a foundation. Then, we can focus on dealing with the four immortals. As long as the immortals aren't here, the primordial god world and the Doichi won't be a match for our small worlds. Under everyone's expectations, Su Fang finally released the power of a king and the might of a realm lord in front of everyone. All the experts present were deeply affected. Even the powerful Green Feather King and the Lord of Five Poisons suddenly realized that Su Fang's strength at the third level of the feather transformation realm was actually an existence that they couldn't surpass. Everyone came back to their senses, and only Su Fang's words echoed in their minds. Instantly, everyone looked at each other. Other than shock, they were also pleasantly surprised. Clearly, everyone felt that this was the best way to deal with the situation. The Lord of Five Poisons applauded in front of everyone. This is a good idea. I think you're planning to avoid the strong and fight the weak, using their strengths to make up for your weaknesses. The Xinyuan Empire and the immortal primordial realm are abnormally strong existences among the countless small worlds. If we have to contend with them, we won't even be able to defeat them. Instead of that, why don't we secretly deal with the ordinary small worlds and take them into our hands? Once we're as strong as a bull, we'll deal with them. We'll listen to Master, the other experts responded. Seeing that no one had any other suggestions, they all agreed with his plan. Su Fong ordered in front of everyone, "Everyone, get ready immediately. Mobilize tens of thousands of experts. Some of them will stay behind in the mortal emperor world. With tens of thousands of experts and the big goblin in my hands, it won't be difficult to deal with a small world. Moreover, I'm confident that we can take down those small worlds without a realm lord." Everyone immediately spread out to make preparations. Chapter 800. Su Fong came to another secluded array formation. Xiao Mei and Lan Haicheng, accompanied by Bai Ling, were cultivating in the pavilions on both sides of the array formation. It seemed that they were sealing their consciousnesses and cultivating in seclusion. Bai Ling left the array formation and silently came to the periphery with Su Fong. "Brother, don't worry. I found a lot of problems with Mei during this period of time. Mei is a disciple of Zuin Pavilion. After she lost her memories, everything was focused on Zuin Pavilion. I talked to her again, and every time, I found that Zuin Pavilion's position in her heart was similar to home. Her master, fellow disciples, and higher-ups are very important to her. Even if Zuin Pavilion used her and abandoned her, her feelings for Zuin Pavilion were always buried in the depths of her heart. When she saw the destruction of Zuin Pavilion, it was equivalent to everything in the past being destroyed in her heart. She even felt that if you didn't appear, she would still be with her fellow disciples in Zuin Pavilion. In fact, she herself understood what Zuin Pavilion had done. The key was in her memories. "Brother, there was no place for you. To her, you were a stranger. Even my relationship with her now is far better than yours." At this time, Bai Ling probably saw Su Fong's expression tensing up, so he advised again, "Fortunately, Lan Haicheng has been closer to her recently and has spoken up for you. Although it's not very effective, it will gradually make her not reject you." I didn't expect things to be so serious. Suddenly become a stranger. No one could accept this. The charming and flirtatious concubine Xiao from back then was still in his mind. I think she values Zuin Pavilion more than herself. "Brother, you can only take one step at a time between you and her. You just have to do your best. This matter cannot be forced, and for the time being, I cannot focus on this matter. Mayer, and I will just go with the flow. Sister Bai, I came to find you this time because I want you to stay in the human emperor world. I want to lead experts to seize the Wu-Tan realm and the Northern Star realm." That won't do. We used to be together. Sister Bai wasn't strong enough in the past, so she knew that she couldn't be of much help. But after all these years, I have to follow you no matter what. With Sister Bai by your side, even if you meet an immortal, you don't have to be afraid of him. I'm still worried about Mayer. With Lan Haicheng here, she should know how to comfort people better than I do. Besides, you yourself said that you can't force things, so why are you still paying attention to these things? All right, where's that little fox Dao Wuliang? Him? When I left a thought for him. As the Zhuotian realm was attacked, he probably left the Zhuotian realm as well. I think Dao Wuliang can still be trusted. Bai Ling pulled Su Fong's arm and forcefully pulled Su Fong out of the space. She gave off the feeling of a girl next door, lively and mischievous. The displeasure in Su Fong's heart quickly disappeared. After about half a month of preparation, Li Haojia, Qin Yuanho, Su Jinhua, Elder He Zun, and other experts led tens of thousands of immortals into Su Fong's small heaven and earth immortal flask. Green Feather King, the Lord of Five Poisons, and Li Zuching stayed behind with some experts to guard the mortal emperor world. The Lord of Five Poisons also needed time to recover his strength. Before leaving, he placed the divine image jade annulus into the depths of the formation for everyone to cultivate. He also asked Green Feather King to keep an eye on refining the aphrodisiac pill. In the future, he would need countless pills. Whoosh whoosh. In the nebula, Bai Ling turned into his true body, and Su Fong sat cross-legged above. At this moment, he looked at the mortal emperor world that was being moved by thousands of big goblin, slowly disappearing from his sight. Although he was a little worried, with Green Feather King, the Lord of Five Poisons, and many other experts, they could at least hide the mortal emperor world in this nebulous star river. After a few breaths, Bai Ling carried Su Fong through the nebula. For Bai Ling, it was much easier than for human cultivators to fly in this star river. After a few months, they flew past the primordial god world and the immortal primordial world. Soon, they could vaguely see the Wu-Tan world. Su Fong sent a thought to Yu Yingying. If there was no alliance to deal with the primordial god world and the immortal primordial world, there was an alliance to deal with the Wu-Tan world and the Beichun zone in this star river. Spirit primordial world. Fertile continent. On the surface of this continent, there seemed to be a lot of jewels and treasure auras emanating from it. If a powerful being were to sense it deeply, they would find that the entire continent was enshrouded in crystalline light, and it was tightly fused with the world of the spirit mist realm. In a mystic realm deep in the continent, Yu Yingying arrived outside the mystic realm and saw many experts gathering. She did not ask much and entered the mystic realm. The six lords of Fertile Continent also appeared at this time. When he saw Yu Yingying, he looked outside the door. I have checked the people. Later, bring them to cooperate with Su Fong to take over the Wu-Tan world. However, do not let them release the natural source of the spirit mist world. Yu Yingying was stunned for a moment. Master, I just told you that Su Fong asked for our help to take over the Wu-Tan world. You sent people directly. Does Master think that Su Fong can take over a world? Logically speaking, it is impossible. However, you also know that he has a peerless demon turtle by his side. His strength and ability must be earth-shattering. If he brought many experts with him from a mortal sovereign world, it is not impossible to take over a small world. Most importantly, the Wu-Tan world and the Beichun zone's realm lords have fallen. These two small worlds are in a period of vacuum, and there are no top experts to guard them. This is Su Fong's chance. Su Fong has grown up step by step under our eyes. From an itinerant cultivator who was chased by others to a supreme being today, it has already proven everything. This person is very capable and brave. He will achieve great things. This time, Master asked you to bring thousands of experts to help. You must do this well. If he succeeds in taking over the Wu-Tan world, Master will personally lend him a hand in the future. As a realm lord, the six lords of Fertile Continent did not hesitate at all. It seemed that in his eyes, there was only success or failure. To believe or not to believe. Since he believed, he would believe it without a doubt. In the end, Yu Yingying had nothing to say. After leaving the secret territory under the summons, more than 5,000 experts, half of which were realm lords of the flying celestial realm, entered a passage. After a few breaths, in the galaxy far away from the spiritual mist world, a passage suddenly appeared in the sky. Yu Yingying led the experts out in a line. Under her command, they immediately flew to the galaxy in the Wu-Tan world. A few days later, thousands of people flew in the vast galaxy. Under the galaxy, they also seemed a little isolated and helpless. They were full of reverence for the supreme galaxy. Many people's expressions changed as they followed Yu Yingying's gaze. They were full of shock. In their eyes, there was a giant turtle flying in the galaxy. Although it was only the size of a palm, the shock it brought to everyone was indescribable. It turned out that Su Fong, Bai Ling, Su Jinhua, Qin Yuan Ho, Elder He Zun, Jin Chongkong, and more than 10,000 experts were riding the undying turtle in the galaxy. Not only were there more than 10,000 experts, but there were also more than 10,000 human experts behind the undying turtle. No, they were not human experts. Every one of them looked ferocious, and every one of them had a violent and murderous aura. It turned out that the Vermilion Emperor, 9-section Earth Dragon, Tong Tian Monster Venerable, Wooling Goblin, 9-headed Goblin King, and Brute Force Goblin King led more than 10,000 Big Goblin. Not long after, when the two sides met in the galaxy, the experts that Yu brought did not dare to look at the Big Goblin Army. Among the Big Goblin Army, how many of them were Realm Lords of the Flying Celestial Realm? There was another area on the Undying Turtle's back, and Yu brought thousands of experts over. Su Fong sighed in front of everyone. "Thank you for your kindness, Master Lu. I only asked you to help me secretly, but I did not expect you to lead so many seniors and big shots to help me." Yu replied coldly. "I told Master exactly what you said, and he immediately gathered everyone to help you. But I'll tell you the ugly words first. It's best if everyone can come back intact. I can still guarantee this. Undying Turtle, head to the Wu-Tan realm in front." He ordered the Undying Turtle to head to the Wu-Tan realm in front of everyone. Although the Undying Tortoise was not very fast, it was able to carry so many experts. Moreover, it was not afraid of the natural forces of the Milky Way, such as the storms and violent currents, which made the 1,000+ experts on its back feel extremely ambitious. They felt that they could conquer this Milky Way. The Wu-Tan realm was already in front of them. The experts gathered around Su Fong, and Yu could not help but ask with concern, "Do you have any good ideas?" This was the only question in everyone's mind. Under everyone's expectations, Su Fong calmly looked at the Wu-Tan realm. "The Wu-Tan realm is my old enemy. The last time the three immortals came down, their purpose was to take back the Tao artifact, Jade Annulus, from me. As a result, a large number of experts snatched the Xinjia Gate and were buried under the power of the Tao artifact. 2 of the 3 immortals died, and 1 was injured, and they have already left the small world. The way to take down the Wu-Tan realm is very simple. Directly attack the world barrier, and when the experts under the former Realm Lord appear, kill them in large numbers, suppress them, and directly suppress them with strength. After killing them until they are unable to resist, then kill into the inner part of the world. There are countless cultivation forces inside. We are not here to destroy the Wu-Tan realm, and they will definitely not attack us rashly. Then we will destroy the Green Lotus Sword sect and suppress the original experts under the Realm Lord." When he finished speaking, no one objected. Because everyone could see their own strength, their side was completely capable of suppressing the experts of the Wu-Tan realm. Direct attack was the fastest way to take over the Wu-Tan realm. "Young miss, don't attack first. When I need help, I will trouble everyone to help," Su Fong deliberately said to Yu. The people from the Spirit Mist realm felt a warm feeling in their hearts. They clearly knew Su Fong's intentions and would not easily let them attack. Naturally, they wanted to avoid the loss of the Spirit Mist realm. One after another, Su Jinhua and more than a dozen experts, each leading 1,000 people, gradually left on the back of the Undying Turtle. Behind them, the Big Goblin each led 1,000 Big Goblin and cooperated with the human experts to form 10 armies of humans and Yao to surround the Wu-Tan realm. After waiting for a few days, when the Wu-Tan realm was completely surrounded, Su Fong rode the Undying Turtle and ordered the 10 armies to surround the Wu-Tan realm. Outside the Star River, in front of the Wu-Tan realm, Su Fong and Bai Ling stood on the back of the Undying Turtle. Just this one person and 2 Yao were spying on the entire Wu-Tan realm. Sith Undying Turtle suddenly opened its mouth and slowly sucked out a bubble like Yao Qi. It spat it out, and that bubble hit the barrier of the realm like a cannonball. Boom! The cold and even somewhat dead barrier of the Wu-Tan realm suddenly burst into flames. The flames blew a large hole in the barrier of the realm, and then countless barriers started to shake. The attack from the Undying Turtle was insignificant. It burned a hole in the barrier of the Wu-Tan realm, and the flames slowly rose into the Star River, attacking a small realm so brazenly. If I remember correctly, in the ancient records in the recent millions of years, it has never happened before. That turtle Yao is really powerful. It seems like it did not use its full strength and blew a hole in the barrier of the Wu-Tan realm in one move. The experts of the Wu-Tan realm are here. Behind them, the expert from a spirit mist realm were watching every movement of the Wu-Tan realm. As they exclaimed, they saw many figures flying out from the hole in the barrier of the Wu-Tan realm. Chapter 801. Wu-Tan Realm's Powerhouses. After the Wu-Tan Realm's barrier was broken, the dust entered the upper galaxy like a dark cloud, hinting at the coming storm. Su Fong saw more than a dozen figures releasing their auras from the hole in the barrier. Some began to repair it, and some came out to kill. As expected of a world, they could make such a comprehensive response so quickly. More than a dozen experts, each with a strong world's origin. Because Su Fong also obtained some origin on the 7 Stars Demon Island back then, coupled with the unlimited world's origin, it was not difficult to see the origin of cultivators. This person was still very young, only 30 years old. He had a handsome face and was very domineering. When he saw the undying tortoise floating in the galaxy in front of him, there was only shock in his eyes. He suddenly came back to his senses and stared at Su Fong above. Which madman dares to attack my Wu-Tan realm? Su Fong sized up the expert in front of him, who was almost as strong as Master He Yun, and said, "Since you are an origin cultivator, I will get straight to the point. When your Wu-Tan realm lord snatched the Xinjia gate, he had already fallen in the Zhuotian realm. My purpose here is to take the small world. You former powerhouses under the realm lord can be loyal to me. It can be said that I want this Wu-Tan realm." The expert was not afraid. "You don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Since the birth of my Wu-Tan realm, the successive realm lords have passed it down from generation to generation. How can there be someone like you who snatched it away? Otherwise, once my Wu-Tan realm is attacked, you will die without a burial place." Su Fong did not care. With just a few words, he could get the Wu-Tan realm. He curled his lips and smiled. "Then I can only forcefully get the Wu-Tan realm and let your experts come out. You are not enough for me to suppress. I see that you have some ability to dare to ignore my Wu-Tan realm." The young origin cultivator waved his hand and flashed out of the void. The other experts rushed out one after another. Su Fong was about to make a move and kill these people, but he did not expect the undying tortoise to say leisurely, "You don't even need to do this. It's not enough for me to eat. Don't be reluctant." How can I be reluctant to part with so many experts in the Wu-Tan realm? What's the big deal without these people? Watch your grandpa tortoise. All right, let's watch your performance. To be honest, I'm still not completely clear about your strength and abilities. Then open your eyes wide. Facing the origin cultivators of the Wu-Tan realm, who were as powerful as a leader, Su Fong was talking and laughing with the undying tortoise. On the contrary, this also angered the masters of Wu-Tan Field. They summoned their magic weapons, and each of them moved at a speed that was close to teleportation. Compared to Su Fong, they were much slower. The Source Origin cultivator moved faster and faster, piercing through the river of stars. It was as if he had disappeared without a trace. It seemed like his strength and abilities were no small matter. In the blink of an eye, he was less than a mile away from the undying tortoise. The undying tortoise slowly moved. It opened its mouth right in front of Su Fong's eyes. It looked like it was yawning, but it opened its mouth and exhaled. Buzz, the next second, the Source Cultivator and the dozen or so masters behind him were wrapped tightly by a red aura with a demonic aura in the hundreds of meters of the Star River, as if the Star River had condensed into something else. Pung pung, those masters were not soft persimmons. They were inexplicably shackled. They couldn't move, but they could activate their primordial spirit and release their spiritual power to release their magic weapons to release astonishing attacks. The magic weapons released an astonishing aura, but it was just enough to make the aura tremble slightly. The undying tortoise suddenly took a big breath. It seemed to be yawning again, but with this mouthful, more than a dozen masters, along with their magic weapons, were sucked into its big mouth. Only then did the Source Origin Master know how powerful the undying tortoise was. He himself was insignificant. It was like smashing an egg against a rock, and the result was that it broke. No, After the Source Origin cultivator screamed in despair, more than a dozen people were swallowed by the undying tortoise at once. Haha, boy, today I'm going to start a massacre. It's been so many years, and I've been sullen enough. The immortal melody realm is not enough for me to kill. This galaxy with countless small worlds is more like it. Watch me turn this Wu-Tan field upside down. Not only was Su Fong overjoyed, but the masters surrounding the Wu-Tan field were also encouraged. Only then did they realize the true horror of the undying tortoise. The undying tortoise shouted a few words, carrying Su Fong in the galaxy and approaching the Wu-Tan field. It completely treated the galaxy as a body of water that it could swim freely, relaxed, and free. What a powerful big goblin! Thousands of masters had gathered in the barrier hole of the Wu-Tan field. There were more and more masters. One Source Origin cultivator after another saw the masters on their side, being killed with their own eyes. They were angry and afraid, but they were afraid of the terrifying tortoise monster. Stop and kill the tortoise monster. Others, find out where these people came from. One of the Source Origin cultivators began to give orders. The new realm master will immediately lead countless masters to kill us, but we'd better rely on ourselves to kill these people. There's no need for the realm master to take action. That would lose the demeanor of our Wu-Tan field. In an instant, even more experts arrived. Those Source Origin cultivators began to move separately. A portion of them flew out of the hole and formed hand seals above the barrier. Some of them were creating formations below to seal the hole. Some of them were using their special abilities to secretly spy on the surrounding experts. You fellows are not enough. I have lived for hundreds of thousands of years. Killing you all is easy. Seeing that they had arrived in front of the Wu-Tan realm, they were only 1,000 meters away from the barrier. The undying tortoise saw that over 1,000 experts were forming a formation, and it was extremely powerful. With the Wu-Tan realm behind them as the source, it turned into an oval-shaped sword chi formation. More than 10 gigantic sword chi were forming, causing the undying tortoise to reveal a sinister smile. The Su Fong on his back couldn't help but laugh. The power of formations can't be underestimated. Then how can we give in first? What is this? Difficult? What kind of wine is this? Bin? Subduing and blocking the sea base. D. Choking Yong Yu barium milk. E. Ao Jun? Willing to be arrogant. Suya kill. The great sword chi formation immediately exploded as well. Over 1,000 experts pointed their fingers at the sky. Shio more than 10 gigantic sword chi that were hundreds of meters long flew out from the formation. The sword chi was extremely powerful. However, 2 streams of poisonous gas gushed out. One of them rushed towards the formation, while the other rushed towards the hole in the barrier. When the poisonous gas rushed towards the formation, it just happened to meet the gigantic sword chi. Following the undying tortoise's sinister smile, the poisonous gas immediately dispersed, like a storm sweeping towards the gigantic sword chi. Zuin, the demonic poison, touched the gigantic sword chi. It was immediately repelled by the sword chi. The sword chi's sword force was truly astonishing. The attack power of this sword formation had already surpassed the Source Origin cultivators, reaching the level of realm masters. But even so, the demonic poison was only repelled. It was not dispelled by the sword chi. The demonic poison immediately pounced towards the gigantic sword chi, exploding with a corrosive power. It astonishingly corroded the flying sword seals and chi layer by layer, peeling them off. The remaining demonic poison also swept towards the sword chi formation in a large area. The experts behind were so frightened that they trembled. They hurriedly changed the attack formation to a defensive formation. Only then did they continuously retreat from the demonic poison. The demonic poison below also mercilessly descended on the hole in the barrier. The densely packed experts united together and borrowed the barrier of Wu-Tan world. Their defensive power was also very shocking, and they even turned into huge waves of attacks, using their offensive power to counterattack the poison. The undying tortoise was still spitting out the demonic poison. It proudly carried Su Fong forward. I said these people were not enough. Haha, let's continue to kill our way to Wu-Tan world. Su Fong was a bit arrogant. Amazing, truly amazing. Undying tortoise, you have done a great job this time. I can clearly see that after you met me, your overall strength has increased a lot. Stop trying to put gold on your face. Now, watch as I bite that world barrier until it crumbles and shatters. The experts of Wu-Tan world were suffering from the demonic poison. In this period of time, for cultivators, this distance could be set foot on Wu-Tan world in a few breaths. But for the undying tortoise, it took a full hour. It kept spitting out the demonic poison. The demonic poison had already caused the experts of Wu-Tan world to be badly battered. Why was the undying tortoise so big? The demonic poison it spat out was naturally large. It would be a miracle if a big goblin could spit out 100 meters of demonic poison. On the other hand, a normal big goblin's demonic poison was limited. It could not be spat out for a long time. Su Fong had fought with many big goblins. Those big goblins did not spit out poison all the time. But the undying tortoise was completely different. It broke this rule. Not only did it spit out a large area of demonic poison, the experts of Wu-Tan world did not encounter such a situation. Kill. The Sword-Chi formation also turned into a defensive formation, but it was suppressed by the demonic poison. It was almost stuck to the world barrier. The thousands of experts actually had no way to retreat. They suddenly released their own magic treasures. Thousands of magic treasures, and they were all king-grade magic treasures. How powerful were they? Whoosh! Su Fong, who was on the back of the undying tortoise, suddenly crossed the Xing River and stood with his hands behind his back. As for the undying tortoise, half of its body stood erect in the Xing River. The thousands of magic treasures bombarded it. The Xing River also surged with the power of the magic treasures. Clang! Clang! But all the magic treasures hit the shell of the undying tortoise. And it was not a large number of magic treasures that instantly shattered the shell. Instead, when a magic treasures hit the shell, there was a deafening sound. Then, the magic treasures returned the same way they came. No, the magic treasures returned in a very different way. They were shaken by the hard shell until they lost control and flew in all directions in the Xing River. For a moment, it was like fireworks exploding in the Xing River. It was very spectacular. You humans are all my food. After losing their magic treasures, the experts of Wu-Tan world thought that by throwing out so many magic treasures, everyone could join hands and kill the undying tortoise. Even if they did not kill it, they could still seriously injure it. Even if they did not seriously injure it, they could still block it. Only now did they know that they were wrong. The hard shell and the body of the undying tortoise had shaken thousands of magic treasures away. Moreover, the experts were unable to control their magic treasures and attacked again. The undying tortoise opened its mouth and took advantage of the momentum to bite the defensive formation that was attached to the world barrier. It revealed rows of sharp teeth and bit the defensive formation with a loud bang. Under the pitiful formation, the thousands of experts with their backs against the world barrier, the defensive formation that protected them instantly exploded under the attack of the undying tortoise's sharp teeth and divine power. The defensive formation was completely shattered. The power of the explosion killed many experts. Fortunately, there was no pain. The pain only disappeared in an instant. But the experts who survived, with despair and struggle, were swallowed by the undying tortoise. The barrier that was connected to the world barrier was once again under the power of the undying tortoise. But this time was different. The undying tortoise bit a big hole in the barrier. The Wu-Tan world once again shook in the Xing River, and the undying tortoise treated the experts in its mouth as fat meat. After a few bites, it swallowed them alive. Kill this tortoise demon. Some experts hurried to reinforce, but when they saw the undying tortoise eating their companions, even their magic treasures trembled. Chapter 802. Truly powerful. That demon turtle is not a beast from a small world. It's like a demon immortal. This is too terrifying. Even if the Wu-Tan Sector Lord is still alive, he would not be able to withstand this attack. Another huge hole was created in the Wu-Tan world. In the distant galaxy, the thousands of powerful warriors that were hiding with Yu Ying could not find any words to describe what they saw. Even Yu Ying, the core warrior of the Spirit Mist world and the disciple of the Sector Lord, was in a state of shock and disbelief. Within the galaxy, above the trembling world barrier, Su Fong slowly flew over and floated above the undying turtle. Looking at the Wu-Tan world below the hole, he was in a different mood. Undying turtle, you did not disappoint me. That's not a big deal. Hee, if you can let me transform into a human and transcend my tribulation to become a Yao immortal, then I can help you kill immortals when I go to a major world. Killing these immortals won't matter. Obviously, the undying turtle was in a better mood than Su Fong. Of course, with so many powerful humans as food. Buzz, 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 and then at this moment, as a small world, the Wu-Tan world immediately had a comprehensive reaction. A large area of the world barrier above the Wu-Tan world had many Xianguang formations. Each formation was a gate. Within each gate, there were thousands and tens of thousands of powerful warriors from the Wu-Tan world. They were all led by powerful core warriors from the Wu-Tan world. There were 50 to 60,000 people that appeared and formed dozens of gate formations. Then, they began to activate the gate formations that were built on top of the world barrier. They took out their magic treasures and left the gate formation into the galaxy. Su Fong was slightly stunned. This is interesting. As a small world, the Wu-Tan world should have treated me as their enemy. Roar, roar. Surrounding the Wu-Tan world, the big goblin and powerful warriors that were floating in the galaxy finally received Su Fong's order. In an instant, the big goblin attacked at the front. The big goblin transformed into their true forms. This was not a battle. As soon as they attacked, they would explode their true forms. What followed was only slaughter and bloodthirst. Boom! On the right, above the world barrier, a vortex-like demonic aura attack erupted from a group of big goblin. They clashed head-on with the thousands of Wu-Tan realm experts who had come out of the portal array formation. The big goblin's talent in the Milky Way was its ability to survive. The Milky Way shackles on them were less than half of the human shackles. Therefore, regardless of whether it was offense or speed, they were obviously superior to humans. Among these big goblins, there were too many powerful big goblins. Su Fong also gave them countless impotence pills to consume. With the power of Yang, the big goblin's strength increased. After all these years of being suppressed by Su Fong, which big goblin strength didn't double or even multiply, the other big goblin experts were also fighting with the experts who had been separated from the world barrier of the Wu-Tan realm. Almost all of them were killing each other. Without the small world and the world barrier to rely on, the Wu-Tan realm experts would find it difficult to create a formation in the Milky Way. The Milky Way shackled life. Once genuine Qi, Dharma powers, and even magic treasures were used, they would be shackled by the Milky Way's power. With so many people creating a formation in the Milky Way, it would take a long time, and they wouldn't be able to control it for a long time. It would be a waste of genuine Qi. The Wu-Tan realm had many people, tens of thousands of them, and they were all at the Feather Realm and Fairy Realm. They must be the elites under the master of the Wu-Tan realm. Whoosh, whoosh. The portal array formation that was closest to Su Fong. Thousands of experts began to separate and leave the Wu-Tan realm. Suddenly, a young cultivator was the first to arrive on his sword. His speed was so fast that it was almost teleportation. It was a man in a white robe. He was about 27 or 28 years old. Judging from his appearance, he was much older than Su Fong. And judging from his aura, he was many times more powerful than Su Fong. He was a giant that could surpass Su Fong as a whole. And he was a young prodigy. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, this young prodigy arrived in front of Su Fong in less than 2 breaths. A sword Qi directly pierced towards Su Fong's chest. Su Fong used the fire cloud steps and dodged in time. The other party's movements, every step, every movement, could not escape his great perfection ability. At the same time, the fire cloud steps were activated, and a residual power shattered the sword chi. As expected of the famous prodigy of the Jiwa Tian realm, the young man in white moved and appeared on the left side of Su Fong. His sword will intertwined into a sword aura on his body. He was an extreme master of the way of the sword. He seemed to know Su Fong's origin. He looked up and down at Su Fong with great admiration. Su Fong said calmly, "It seems that the Wu Tan realm already knows who I am." The corner of the young man's mouth rose. "You look like you're in your 20s, and your strength is shocking. There aren't many people like you in the nearby small worlds. In addition, the purpose of my Wu Tan realm was to capture you. It can be said that my Wu Tan realm is not unfamiliar with you at all, Su Fong. You are the disciple of the Wu Tan realm lord. Back then, I was in the Zhuotian realm and witnessed him following Seven Star Child, Huang Yuan, and Holly. Under the confrontation of countless immortals, he finally fell. There are also a large number of experts brought by the Wu Tan realm lord. That is indeed my master. What can the realm lord do when encountering immortals? I see that you are also a talent. I am familiar with the Zhuotian realm, and you are also familiar with me. The three immortals came down to capture me and asked me for a Tao artifact. Seven Star Child could not do anything to me. Immortals could not do anything to me. Do you think the Wu Tan realm can do anything to me? Not necessarily. Your karmic luck is extraordinary, but today you still dare to attack my Wu Tan realm. It means your karmic luck has come to an end. Now, I will give you a new choice. The Wu Tan realm is within my reach, and it is also something I must obtain. You can submit to me now and cultivate with me. With your talent and my nurturing, you will definitely surpass the three immortals in the future." Haha, Su Fong, you really think you are someone. I admit that you are indeed an amazing person. I heard that you don't have a golden core, and that you have only cultivated for a few hundred years in the Immortal Sealing sect. You are even more famous than the disciples of the three great venerables, Huang Lingyao, Sheng Changsheng, and Prince Shui. But so what? Prince Shui and the other two have to kneel in front of me, let alone someone like you who has only cultivated for a few hundred years. Then I'm sorry, you can only become a corpse. Let's see how capable you are to be able to say that so confidently. Sky Ice Flower, Earth Sword Heart. At this moment, the young man suddenly burst out with a supreme aura. Under the explosion of his aura, a majestic aura was released towards Su Fong. This aura suddenly appeared in front of Su Fong. Above it was a large flower of ice, swords formed by countless sword chis. Below was even more sword chis that formed by intertwining sword chis, holding up the flower of ice, swords in the void. Not bad, but Su Fong slightly showed a look of appreciation. But the other frowned, not understanding, and also disdaining to understand. In an instant, the flower of ice swords rushed towards Su Fong. Chi-poof! The flower of ice swords pressed down. At this moment, the young man was still feeling proud, watching how Su Fong would be killed by this great divine ability in the sky. A white light of nothingness swept past his neck. The white light of the sword slashed through his neck. His head instantly flew up and disappeared from his neck. Blood spurted out from the wound like a fountain into the galaxy. A peerless genius of origin from the Wu Tan realm was killed by Su Fong's sword in a breath's time. He was going to lose his life at this moment. Bam! However, Su Fong still had to face the astonishing attack of the flower of ice swords. A golden defense appeared on his body, like a golden Taoist robe. This Taoist robe was not a simple aura or energy. It was a great divine ability. It was a defensive Taoist robe formed by the flesh embryo god armor, the sage emperor god origin scripture, and Su Fong's astonishing true energy. It was not fused with the invincible golden body. Under the protection of the golden Taoist robe, Su Fong directly charged toward the flower of ice swords. When he collided with it, Su Fong was not injured at all. Even the golden Taoist robe was not damaged. It rampaged through the ice, swords, and flowers, smashing a hole through them. The attack from that genius was almost completely ignored by Su Fong's current cultivation. Kill this kid. The thousands of experts were already closing in. When they saw Su Fong kill their peerless expert, who would not be shocked? But now that they had killed their way here, they had no way out. They had to fight to the death with Su Fong. Fight to the death? Was that even possible? The undying tortoise and Su Fong worked together to flip the sky. The undying tortoise soared into the sky above the barrier of the Wu-Tan realm, causing the river of stars to tremble. It was a pity that the thousands of experts only wanted to deal with Su Fong and ignore the undying tortoise. At this moment, when the undying tortoise rolled over and smashed its shell directly at them, most of them wanted to escape, but only a few of them managed to escape first. The remaining experts were either too frightened by the undying tortoise to react, or were cultivators who believed themselves to be invincible. The result? A rumbling sound rang out, and the river of stars rippled with destructive star scars. The undying tortoise used its shell to crush the defensive energy fields of the experts, causing them to lose their center of gravity. They either coughed up blood or exploded on the spot. There were even more experts who, because they had lost their center of gravity, were unable to control themselves and fell into the depths of the river of stars like corpses. This is a massacre. In the depths of the river of stars, the expert from the spirit mist realm had forgotten why they had come here. They had originally come to help Su Fongda take over the Wu-Tan realm, but now, the big goblin and experts that Su Fong had brought were too ferocious, especially the big goblin. They were all transformed from their true bodies, and lightning filled the sky. Occasionally, the light of a Tao artifact would shake the sky. A small realm with tens of thousands of experts was actually unable to gain the upper hand under the attacks of more than 10,000 experts and the big goblin. The only thing in Yu Yingying's eyes right now was Su Fong. Su Fong is too strong. He instantly killed an Origin Realm expert like me. Even an immortal would not be able to kill an expert of this level so easily. Just how strong are you? Are you really a cultivator who has cultivated for hundreds of years? At this moment, her eyes were filled with shock. Look at that giant tortoise demon. All the experts were attracted by this scene. It turned out that above the barrier of the Wu-Tan realm, at some unknown time, the undying tortoise had used its body to jump around the barrier of the Wu-Tan realm, using its body to smash the barrier of the Wu-Tan realm. Each attack was able to smash a hole in the barrier of the Wu-Tan realm. So, I really underestimated this undying tortoise. Its body is hard, so its attack power is also terrifying. Such an attack can easily smash the barrier of the Wu-Tan realm. Of course, if it did not have such ability, why would I spend so much effort on it? Above the river of stars, Su Fong was floating. Around her were the surviving experts who had dodged the undying tortoise's attacks. There were about 500 of them. They did not dare to deal with the undying tortoise, so they wanted to get rid of Su Fong. Chapter 803. These experts were already activating their magic treasures. If it wasn't under their feet, then it was above their heads. One of the Origin Source giants shouted, "It's just him. There's no need to be afraid of him." Su Fong, who was surrounded, waved his hand, and the head of the young expert he had killed appeared in his palm. Another Origin Source expert. Just now, I gave your companion a chance to work for me. I, Su Fong, will definitely take the Zhuotian realm. Today, if you want to stop me, then I'll kill you all. But if you surrender, then when I get the Zhuotian realm, you'll be the kings of your own territory. You won't need to look at the realm lord's face. I'll give you freedom and resources. The bloody head was still dripping with blood, and a pair of large eyes that could not close in peace were oozing blood spots. It was as if this young expert was not only filled with despair, but also regret. Why did he die here? Needless to say, the head shocked every expert. For a moment, it was as if their feet were rooted to the ground. The Origin Source giant trembled. What are you all standing there for? The old realm lord has fallen, and now a new realm lord has been born. Why should our small world be afraid of a single cultivator? I don't think you're all afraid of me. Just now, you all knew how powerful that giant tortoise was. Look at the Wu-Tan realm. The world barrier is too weak in front of it. No matter how many experts you send, they won't be my match. People are always on the edge of fear. They will erupt with unimaginable potential. Everyone is just weighing their own choices. Since you've cultivated the Wu-Tan realm's origin source, then you must be one of the Wu-Tan realm sovereigns. The others have their own choices. If you want to stop me, then please do it. Su Fang's gaze suddenly became fierce. He ignored everyone else, only the great magnate who possessed the origin of Wu-Tan realm. Do you think I'm afraid of you? The magical treasure that the expert took out shook violently. It turned out to be a long spear. The spear was surrounded by flames. Suddenly, it shot out like an arrow. The flames were the wings of the arrow. Pushed by the expert, it pierced through the river of stars. Furthermore, the spear's quality was not bad. When it pierced through the river of stars, it gave off the aura of a treasure that was 300 meters long. It was enough to kill any cultivator below the Realm Lord level. Pooh! However, before the magical weapon could reach Su Fang, a strange aurora appeared on the neck of the powerful expert. It disappeared without a trace, and as soon as it appeared, it slashed across the neck of the powerful expert. A bloody mist burst forth, and the head's flesh and blood began to gush out. Under the pillar of blood, it was as if a bloody flower was being propped up. The head immediately lost its balance and began to roll about in the starry river. As for the magical treasure, it lost its aura in midair. Because it had lost the will of the cultivator controlling it, it became an ownerless treasure. People like you are no match for me. Think carefully before you attack. If I want to kill you, it will only take an instant. Su Fang looked around in disdain and then flew towards the undying tortoise. Those experts were stunned where they stood, looking at the corpses of the two origin giants. They would probably never forget this scene for the rest of their lives. They even dared to deal with Su Fang. By the time Su Fang reached the top of the undying turtle, there were over 10,000 magical treasures, as well as a spiderweb-like spell formation, attacking it. The undying turtle had created a huge hole in the world barrier. Over 10,000 experts had set up a grand formation in the sky, releasing their magical treasures to stop the undying turtle from entering the Wu-Tan realm. The combined power of over 10,000 cultivators and the power of the world barrier was truly enough to stop the undying turtle. However, the undying turtle was still slowly advancing towards the Wu-Tan realm. If this continued, even 10,000 people wouldn't be able to stop the undying turtle. Master, a big goblin was running through the starry river with a large amount of flesh. Just as Su Fang was about to attack, he saw the big goblin and had to help the undying turtle enter the Wu-Tan realm. This big goblin was naturally the Vermilion Emperor. The Vermilion Emperor had used the divine image, Jade Annulus, to cultivate. It had also devoured a large amount of immortal chi and immortal essence blood. It was also an ancient variant beast with a mysterious inheritance. Its strength had increased to the point of being comparable to the Green Feather King. It arrived at the undying turtle's side, and under Su Fang's signal, it spat out its demonic poison. Then the might of a Tao item shook the sky. The fury of a demonic god swept through the formation. Bang, bang, bang. The Vermilion Emperor's original body, coupled with its running, spat out its fangs and demonic poison, directly rushed into the Wu-Tan realm experts, smashing them into pieces. Coupled with the fury of a demonic god attacking over 10,000 magic treasures, the Vermilion Emperor's combat power had reached such a level. The ancient Pig Horse King was indeed extraordinary. Now, Su Fang had so many variant beasts, many of which had reached the strength of 3 calamities. He also had the demonic poison that even humans were afraid of. Just the 20,000 big goblin under his command was enough to take down the Wu-Tan realm. Coupled with the undying turtle that had yet to unleash its full power, how terrifying would that be? According to the undying tortoise, it didn't want to destroy the Wu-Tan world. If it wanted to, it could just chomp the Wu-Tan world into pieces. Outside the core of the earth, the Wu-Tan world would turn into dust in front of it. At this time, many of the experts of the Wu-Tan realm were killed by the big goblin and Su Fang subordinates. Su Jinhua had the essence refining immortal pearl, together with Elder He Zun, Qin Yuan Ho, and other experts, using the advantage of the big goblin, it was not difficult to deal with the experts of the Wutan realm. There was also an expert with a supreme Dao item, Li Haojia. He killed one side alone, released hundreds of big goblin, and also called out Sanus Aozhan. He activated the Yuan, suppressing demon, transforming heavenly book, and a large number of blood curses fell from the sky. If it was not a big goblin, even a cultivator would be shackled by the blood curses. Savior Li Haojia rose from the heaven and earth and had extraordinary abilities. No wonder he had a young nascent soul before and could control a Dao item. This kind of savior is too terrifying. Fortunately, I met Li Haojia early and became friends with him. If this kind of person became an enemy, it would be 10,000 times more terrifying than Prince Shui and the third prince. On his side, there were too many experts who could hold their own. Together with Tong Tian Venerable Monster, Wooling Goblin, 9-segment Earth Dragon, 9-headed Goblin King, Brute Force Goblin King, Purple Wind Goblin, and other invincible big goblin, they were equivalent to Sorcerer Heiyun. Even if Sorcerer Heiyun was difficult to deal with, he was still a human. He did not have the terrifying demonic poison and mutated abilities of the big goblin. More reinforcements. Both sides were killing each other inside and outside the world barrier. Su Fangda's perfect ability saw tens of thousands of experts appear from different world barriers or holes. Some of the cultivators were obviously experts from different factions. Their attire showed that they were the major factions from the Wutan world that Su Fang once knew. There were even thousands of experts from the Green Lotus Sword sect. I am not afraid of the Realm Lord and his faction, but I am afraid that the countless cultivation factions in the Wutan world will listen to the Realm Lord's orders and attack me. That will not be easy. Seeing so many experts coming to support him, he frowned for a moment. Then, he immediately entered the world barrier by himself. As soon as he entered, he regretted that he had entered the Wutan world earlier. It turned out that below the world barrier, there were about a dozen experts sent by major factions. They had joined forces with the factions under the Realm Lord, and there were more and more of them. After sensing for a while, he suddenly activated the world barrier and flashed past the countless experts. There was no movement until one of the experts suddenly evaporated and was sucked into the depths of the world barrier. In the clouds high up in the sky, Su Fang grabbed an origin source cultivator and appeared from the void. This person only had the strength of a heavenly calamity of the flying immortal realm. In just an instant, this person was scared out of his wits. Su Fang released the voice of the supreme heavenly demon, once again causing this expert to completely lose his will. As soon as Su Fang asked, he answered honestly. The new Realm Lord was the #1 expert under the old Sovereign Dijun. Under the old Sovereign's instructions, he merged with the Wutan world. After the old Sovereign fell, he became the Wutan world's Realm Lord. He knows that you're not easy to deal with. He sent many experts, but still couldn't stop you. Right now, he's above the Green Lotus Sword sect's Dao field, gathering tens of thousands of Green Lotus Sword sect factions. Almost all the first-rate factions have come, including the Devil Path, the Yao Race, and the Evil Path. Sovereign Dijun wants these factions to help him and send experts to help him kill you. Right now, he's at the Green Lotus Sword sect's Dao field. The expert blurted out what he knew and what Su Fang wanted to know. You're very honest. I've already planted a seal in your young, nascent soul. Now, I'll give you a chance to live. Go and persuade the experts you know to give up resistance and join me. With a grab, he threw the expert into the sky. Su Fang quickly flew toward the Green Lotus Sword sect. The Green Lotus Sword sect. This was no stranger to Su Fang. There were many factions in the Wutan world, and Su Fang had a certain understanding of them in his memories. In less than 3 breaths, he crossed several continents and came to the depths. The ground below was the Dao field of the Green Lotus Sword sect. As soon as his great perfection ability penetrated and he sensed the familiar aura of the Green Lotus Sword sect, countless cultivators were gathering toward the Green Lotus Sword sect. There were already more than 100,000 winged transformation realm and flying celestial realm experts gathered above the Green Lotus Sword sect. Among these experts, there were experts of the Devil Path, the Evil Path, and the Yao race. It seemed that they were the representatives of the various factions in this endless corner of the Wu-Tan world. What shocking force! After spending some time, he sensed the aura of a large number of origin source cultivators in the Green Lotus Sword sect who had the origin source of the Wu-Tan world. One of them had an extremely rich world aura, completely surpassing the origin source cultivators Su Fong had met before. It was obviously Sovereign Dijun. Haha, I'll meet you now, Sovereign Dijun. Activating the power of the world, the Wu-Tan world's origin source hid in the vast nature and was also controlled by him, turning into a great divine power. When he got close to the Green Lotus Sword sect, he stripped the aura of a disciple and used the bone-changing technique to easily enter the Green Lotus Sword sect. Su Fong didn't care about the more than 100,000 experts. They couldn't really work for Sovereign Dijun. It had to be known that they had to look at the face of the Wu-Tan world's realm lord to establish their faction. The Green Lotus Sword sect was worthy of being called a major faction. There were powerful barriers everywhere. When Su Fong came to the depths of the barrier, there were people blocking him, not allowing him to enter. Only then did Su Fong use a great divine power to secretly sneak in. At this time, Su Fong, who controlled the Wu-Tan world's origin source and the Green Lotus Sword sect's origin source, was like an uninhabited land. When he came to the depths of a space where spiritual chi and immortal chi intertwined, he immediately saw a palace with hundreds of experts gathered. Most of them were experts of the Green Lotus Sword sect, all of them in the flying celestial realm. A small number of them were origin source experts. They should be the subordinates of Sovereign Dijun. When he came to the front of the palace, he immediately heard a heroic voice. Emir Su Fong has long been a bandit. In the past, he was chased by countless factions of the Zhuotian world and had to hide everywhere. Now, he probably has the support of some experts and dares to kill his way into my Wu-Tan world. And that was after 7-Star and Senior Holly left. This child is a complete scoundrel and won't be able to cause any waves. But this child is also a capable person. I don't know where he found these experts, as well as quite a few big goblin. After hearing that, Su Fong used the power of a great perfection expert to enter the palace. He saw that the speaker was an old man in his 60s wearing a black cloak. He had a goatee and gave off an unfathomable feeling. Chapter 804. The old man's goatee was like an upturned mountain range, exuding a lofty aura. Although he was close to 60 years old, the old man did not look old at all. Instead, he was hale and hearty, and his eyes were full of vigor. This was a peerless expert whose cultivation had reached the peak. Naturally, he was the new realm lord of Wu-Tan world, Saint Dijun. He has only grasped the Wu-Tan world, but his world chi is extremely dense and unfathomable. This person is no ordinary origin realm expert. The Great Perfection stage was able to see through the main hall, and his vision was placed on the experts below. As expected of the Green Lotus Sword sect, even though the sect master, Immortal Huang Yuan, who came from the lower realm, and many experts of the sect had fallen in the Zhuotian realm, many of these Green Lotus Sword sect experts had also stepped into the 3 Dao Calamity stage. After all, it was the number 1 force in the Wu-Tan realm, and it also had a mysterious connection with the Wu-Tan realm. A cultivation force born under such a background could create many giants in the fairy realm. Other than the majority of the Green Lotus Sword sect's experts, there are almost 100 origin source experts. There were also some elders who seemed to be on the verge of ascending. Their statuses were clearly extraordinary. Honorable Sector Lord, Su Fong is truly cunning. Immortals came down to find him, but did not dare to show themselves. In the end, when the Immortals left, he invaded our Wu-Tan world. It was an old man from the Green Lotus Sword sect. This person also had unparalleled power. In terms of aura alone, this old man was not much weaker than the Earth Truth Sacred Sovereign. It seemed that this old man was currently the most powerful person in the Green Lotus Sword sect. With the fall of Sect Master Lu Qingfeng, the Green Lotus Sword sect would have a new leader like the Wu-Tan field. Sacred Venerable Dijon looked at the elder. Stu the monster hun? You want to roll over CI bow? The Taoist words are equal to zinc. Sakura? Was the bandit Sigma Acacia? Zhong Di Wei Jin Fu Kong Lu sneakily sneaking around? A court case? Is this a joke? Hat? Extreme punishment? Are you willing to accept it? Worry-free kryptonite? Wandering in the wilderness? Shell seal. It was obvious that the relationship between these two was not shallow, and the feeling was not ordinary. From the Green Lotus Sword sect? Shrug Trench Jump Bottle? Clang. Pretty Dr. W block model? Delete the Yu Huai emblem. Yong Sui Lu? Xiao Shui Ishi? Mount Wei Tuo Wei Tuo WMO? Shi Pelican Wei Shi? Su by rolling his sword? What? Cut. Empty folding duck? Tu Huan? Sure take mushroom. Shua Danzong? Screen new? Si by Babo. An extremely young disciple of the Green Lotus Sword sect said, "It's just Su Fong. Is there a need for so many people? This person can't be joked around." In the past, the old sect master and the Celestials were unable to catch him time and time again. That shows how difficult it is to deal with him. Seniors don't think too highly of a brat. He was able to escape the pursuit of senior immortals because he was hiding like a mouse. Right. Now that he's made a public appearance, it's the best opportunity for us to suppress him. There were many young experts and young elites in the surroundings. All of them had a condescending attitude. They all wanted to suppress Su Fong with their own hands and make a name for themselves in the world. Sacred Venerable Dijon's aura changed instantly, causing the young cultivators to quickly shut their mouths. Everyone, you should know that more than 200,000 experts from the 8 true cultivation forces have gathered in the Green Lotus Sword sect. It's time to lead them to kill Su Fong. The people below raised their arms and shouted, "This brat is tired of living. He must be killed without mercy." At this moment, just as the experts were about to step out, an illusory laughter suddenly spread in the main hall. "Do you think you could do anything to Su Fong? Who is it?" The main hall was instantly filled with a trembling and murderous aura. Hundreds of experts turned around and looked around. Most of them were staring at the entrance of the main hall. Sacred Venerable Dijon smiled in surprise and slowly stood up in front of everyone. "Who else?" "Naturally, I want to kill Su Fong." Su Fong. Everyone was taken aback. Soon after, they all had shocked expressions. They never thought that Su Fong would dare to come here. Isn't he courting death? How dare he? Whoosh! Sacred Venerable Dijon suddenly flew over the experts. Outside the main hall, a large number of Green Lotus Sword sect disciples had already surrounded them. Just as Sacred Venerable Dijon appeared, Su Fong also walked over casually. It was as if Green Lotus Sword sect and the current Realm Lord did not exist in front of him. "It's really you." Sacred Venerable Dijon swept his gaze across coldly. It was as if this space would tremble and be instantly frozen. Su Fong did not give up. "I also know that you are Sacred Venerable Dijon and have just become the Wu-Tan Realm Lord. You are also very strong, and the Wu-Tan realm has a rich foundation. I, Su Fong, do not want to destroy this place, nor do I want to fight to the death. As long as you, Sacred Venerable Dijon, think clearly and submit to me, I will still let you become the Realm Lord." "Haha, Su Fong, you really don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. I am a Supreme Realm Lord, and you actually said such words in front of me. What's funny is that it's easy for you to come today, but it's impossible for you to leave. Is that so? If I want to leave, who can stop me?" In a flash, Su Fong disappeared into thin air again. Seal, the Supreme Elder of Green Lotus Sword Sect, Ziyang Chongli, Kilpan Chun, Lin Zhanlia, Steel Lin Zhanlia, boom. But it was not the seal that he wanted, but the power that came from his control. It suddenly exploded. It was Su Fong who used his strength to forcefully break the seal. Chase. Sacred Venerable Dijon gave the order and brought hundreds of experts and countless disciples of Green Lotus Sword Sect to pass through the barrier. 2-2. Outside Green Lotus Sword Sect, countless experts from various factions were gathered in the air. There were more than 200,000 people. Just as they were waiting, they suddenly felt a deafening tremor coming from the inner sanctum of Green Lotus Sword sect. They were all puzzled, but then they saw countless experts coming out from the barrier, including Sacred Venerable Dijon. It's the Realm Lord. Countless experts were filled with respect towards Sacred Venerable Dijon. Sacred Venerable Dijon floated in the air and looked in all directions. The other experts did not know what he was looking for. He suddenly sneered in disdain. Su Fong, aren't you very courageous to run away? Su Fong, hearing this, the countless experts were even more puzzled. They did not understand that the peerless figure from the Zhuotian realm, who was attacking the Wutan realm, had actually come to them. Hiss! Above the sky, a figure stepped on the burning clouds and slowly came with the wind. It was Su Fong. He murmured with a smile. How could I leave, Heavenly Venerable Dijon? The reason why I'm waiting for you here is because I want to say something in front of the elders of the countless forces in the world. How can I let you be so impudent? Green Lotus Sword sex expert? Simmering danger, chirping, stirring, snatching blowers, falling, shrieking, 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 shrieking? Asterisk cough, asterisk, why did the falcon do it? Su Fong's aura was profound. Think about it. If we fight in the Green Lotus Sword sect, this place will probably be razed to the ground. You don't want the Green Lotus Sword sect to be damaged. I guarantee that once I'm done talking, we'll go outside this world and fight in the Milky Way. How about we not run away? An old man? Sizzle? Gulu saliva mark. There are so many people here, so many seniors. My words will have a great impact on everyone. I believe everyone wants to hear what I have to say. A man should be at the top, facing the Sector Lord, the countless masters of the Green Lotus Sword sect, and the countless giants of the Wutan realm. Su Fong felt like he was standing on top of countless mountains, and only he could see beyond the ninth heaven. His gaze and expression were calm, and completely unafraid of Wutan Jia. Did Su Fong see Zhen Holy Lord? Zi Xintao? Ping staggered to resist Xin Huanju? Miriam? Curtain? What is this word crawling for? Black skeleton tyrannical filter sword? Vinegar fainting carboxylic, charming ribbon, and good at cattle? What about Panyu and Cormorant Ligong? Huh? Supporting Jia? Prison? Are you kidding me? Climbing the record? Ishan Reef Forju? Hydra? Sugar Mushroom? Sheng Shan's lawsuit against Lu Yuanfei was completed? Gulu Ji, I want to live well. I think everyone has the same idea. I came to Wutan Jia for a reason. Back then, the three immortals here, Huang Yuran, Seven-Star Child, and Holly, brought the former Sector Lord and a large number of masters to hunt me down in Zhuotian Jia. No matter how lucky I, Su Fong, am, I have experienced life and death time after time. Now that the immortals have come to the upper realm, the former Sector Lord and the leader of the Green Lotus Sword sect, Lu Qingfeng, have also fallen. This is the best opportunity for Su Fong to take revenge. Everyone present, you have no grievances with Su Fong. I promise you, if I become the Wutan Jia Lord and unify the small world, then I will promulgate the law so that all forces will always enjoy the territory of your respective dojos in Zhuotian Jia. It will be yours for generations to come. I, Su Fong, want to share this small world with everyone. I don't need to ask to know what Zhuotian Jia Lord did in the past. As the Realm Lord, he only treated you as tools to condense resources in his hands. It's not too much to say that you are slaves. Since then, Su Fong once again guarantees that you don't have to hand over any resources to Wutan Jia. The Realm Lord will not forcibly interfere with the various forces and will prosper in Wutan Jia with everyone. You are now working for Dijon Sovereign. What will he give you? What will he give you? Will he give you all the power of the Realm Lord? No, never. But I, Su Fong, am different. I can guarantee that once I obtain Wutan Jia, everything in the world will be shared by everyone. Of course, you can rest assured. I will not be like Dijon Sovereign, who will join forces with you to deal with a strong enemy. I don't need you to stand on my side. As long as you don't participate in dealing with Dijon Sovereign, don't listen to Dijon Sovereign, it means you have agreed to my suggestion. What you need to do is wait for me, Dijon Sovereign, and the Green Lotus Sword sect to decide a winner. Since you don't have the confidence to deal with Su Fong, It is better not to interfere with either side. Dijon Sovereign and I will use strength to decide who is the true master of Wu-Tanjie. Dijon Sovereign, that's all I have to say. If you're really the Realm Lord and really care about Wu-Tanjie, then come to the Star River. I, Su Fong, will wait for you in the endless Star River outside this world. In front of hundreds of thousands of people and peerless giants, Su Fong was imposing without being angry. His words contained the supreme power of the world, and every sentence he uttered left all the cultivators present speechless. In the end, he looked directly at Dijon Sovereign. He was challenging Dijon Sovereign in front of countless cultivators of Wu-Tanjie. Dijon Sovereign didn't expect a response immediately. He stood with his hands behind his back. I am a supreme realm lord. I naturally have to think about Wu-Tanjie. Su Fong is just a bandit who doesn't know what you did in Zhuotianjie in the past. First, you betrayed the celestial sealing sect, became a rebel, and slaughtered countless righteous cultivators. You are a despicable person who doesn't keep your words. I don't want to destroy Wu-Tanjie because of you, so I will take your head in front of countless people in the Star River and return peace to Wu-Tanjie. Supreme, invincible. Immediately, a large number of origin source cultivators and many experts cheered for Dijon Sovereign. Clearly, Dijon Sovereign's words did have a lot of effect. I will wait for you in the Star River. Su Fong turned around in an instant and rode the clouds towards the sky. Chapter 805. This divine venerable Dijon is indeed a sector lord. At this moment, Su Fong glanced down and saw a large number of cultivators rushing towards divine venerable Dijon. He frowned. To be able to become a sector lord is not just strength but also shrewdness. Previously, when I said what the surrounding cultivators were thinking and poked at their weak spots, divine venerable Dijon immediately acted righteous and decided to turn the tide. The speed of the cloud increased, and he no longer looked down from the corner of his eyes. Brother, sister has suppressed many origin source experts for you. He did not expect the white figure to teleport to the top. He Xianzi Bai Ling. She gave off a strange aura that came from the power of chaos. Luckily, she had spirit chi, allowed her to be seen in the sky. In the blink of an eye, the two met under the broken world barrier. Sister Bai, you and the undying tortoise are the strongest existences by my side now. When I fight with divine venerable Dijon, if he does anything, immediately activate the heavenly neck spirit ring and kill him. Bai Ling did not understand. Her eyes under her eyebrows flashed. You still want to fight with him? Brother, with your ability, you can't just attack him directly. Wu-Tan world does not belong to him alone. If I can respect and subdue countless factions, once I control Wu-Tan world, then I can control this small world in an extremely short time. If I don't care about these factions, they will join hands with divine venerable Dijon. So troublesome in the human world, any small matter can bring big trouble to oneself. Now, the big picture is my only choice. They are here. Su Fong looked down. A surge of aura surged over the clouds. It was divine venerable Dijon leading thousands of experts, as well as countless cultivators deep in the sky, flying towards the sky. In the next moment, Su Fong and Bai Ling jumped out of the world barrier. Bai Ling went to reinforce the other experts. Inside and outside the Wu-Tan world barrier, the killing continued. To stop this killing, there was only one winner between Su Fong and divine venerable Dijon. In the end, the winner would stop this killing. In the galaxy, Su Fong moved with the wind and came to a galaxy in Wu-Tan world. The entire world barrier was in his sight. A large number of cultivators also flew out of the world barrier. Divine venerable Dijon brought thousands of experts and rushed over. After a few breaths of time, the two sides were separated by a galaxy. Some meteorites whooshed past the two sides, bringing with them a fierce storm. One could clearly feel the pain of the impact on the skin. If the wind was a little stronger, they could roll up the meteorites and smash the cultivators into meat paste. Dijon turned around and shouted at the thousands of experts. If I lose, Su Fong will be Wu Tan World from now on. Of divine venerable Dijon. This again, sneering inwardly, Su Fong began to activate his Fa Li. He also secretly told the undying tortoise to stop destroying the Zhuotian realm. If it really attacked, even Dijon's Sacred Master would not be able to stop the destruction of the Zhuotian realm. Divine Venerable Dijon is very strong. Although he is not as strong as Zhuotian World's Realm Lord, he is still far stronger than Master Heiyun. With my current strength, I can at most reach the flying immortal realm with 2 heavenly calamity Dao. Not only my strength, but also my divine abilities. I have to use my own advantages. My speed is on par with his, but my divine abilities are not as good as his. My true chi is my advantage, as well as my physical body and natal magic treasure. The ethereal true scripture can also allow me to use my divine abilities in the supreme galaxy. I can use the ethereal true scripture without many shackles. In the galaxy, I have an absolute advantage over divine venerable Dijon. I will use my physical body and natal magic treasure to deal with him. In addition, I have Little Star and the small universe Immortal Pot. Even if divine venerable Dijon has the power left behind by an immortal and a Tao artifact, I am not afraid. The power left behind by an immortal. Su Fong could not help but think of the battle with the third prince. At the last moment, the third prince used a thunder talisman from the great world to shatter the edgeless sword. He almost died. Fortunately, his strength had reached the flying immortal realm, and he could use more Tao artifacts. If he encountered that thunder talisman again, he could also resist it. It's a pity that you have only just risen in this world. At this moment, divine venerable Dijon had already arrived in the galaxy. As the cold wind blew, he looked at Su Fong with a smile in his eyes. I can give you a choice now. Submit to me, and I will make you the master of a continent. You will enjoy supreme power for all eternity and become the emperor of a cultivation world. Are you more powerful than an immortal? You should know better than me how powerful 7-Star Child is. Even he can't do anything to me. Moreover, if we want to submit, we won't choose you, but an immortal. In the face of divine venerable Dijon's hospitality, Su Fong coldly slapped him in the face. Since you don't know what's good for you, I can only suppress you and take your corpse into the great world. I will go to the immortal AO great world and infiltrate senior 7-Star Child subordinates. I overestimated you. You are an expert, but you don't want to test yourself. Instead, you want to rely on others to survive. That's because you don't know how vast the great world is, how insignificant humans are, and how powerful the demonic beasts, demons, and immortals there are. A cultivator like you who has cultivated for hundreds of years naturally doesn't know. Since you don't want to be my friend, you are my enemy. Die. Divine Venerable Dijon displayed the supreme aura of a giant. In an instant, a halberd appeared in his hand. He pounced towards Su Fong in the air, his speed getting faster and faster. What a great halberd. It's actually close to the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda. There are countless Dharma treasures in the great world, but there are only a few treasures that can reach the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda. Su Fong instantly activated the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda. His natal divine power exploded in his body and the flesh fetus divine armor. 10,000 meters 1,000 meters 100 meters suddenly. The two experts' auras were like rainbows, setting off stormy waves in the galaxy. Divine Venerable Dijon activated the 10-foot-long halberd. The halberd was special. It was like a staff with 3 triangular human faces on 3 sides. There was a strange stone in the middle that was formed by black, white, and red. God-faced halberd of 3 ghosts go. He waved the halberd, and the strange stone immediately emitted a dazzling and strange light. Hoo. Dozens of meters as the God-faced halberd of 3 ghosts slashed through the galaxy. Countless halberd Dharma treasures 100 feet in the air pressed towards Su Fong like a tsunami. The small meteorites and the cold wind were all pressed into powder by the halberd Dharma treasure's divine power. He's indeed a realm lord. Such terrifying power. Su Fong felt that he couldn't resist or run anymore. It was impossible to defend against it. The attack from the Earth Truth Heavenly Venerate combined the power of the world, divine might, and Dharma treasures into one. Such power could definitely create a huge hole in a small world. It was more than enough to destroy a continent. Natal divine power. He didn't want to run away, and he couldn't do so now. He could only fight. Neither he nor divine venerable Dijon could retreat. Whoever retreated would be the loser. A 6-story pagoda suddenly appeared around Su Fong's body, and it was gold and silver. Was he still human? It felt like he was an artifact spirit formed by a 6-story pagoda. Sword moves the galaxy. With the help of his natal Dharma treasure and his perfected body, Su Fong's power had reached the level of a flying celestial with 2 heavenly calamities. He also activated the starry daylight sword and combined the power of the world with the ethereal true explanation. A star-like sword river suddenly appeared in front of him. Boom! Boom! In an instant, the starry sword river and the divine power of the god-faced halberd of 3 ghosts clashed together. The wind surged, and the sword light and the halberd destroyed everything. This wasn't just a battle between Dharma treasures. It was also a battle between Su Fong and divine venerable Dijon's world power and supreme cultivation arts. In front of countless cultivators, the central galaxy where the 2 of them were turned into a cluster of dazzling, destructive brilliance that looked like fireworks. Even the galaxy was shaken. Many of the meteoroids at the periphery were minced like spinning tops. They spun and shattered on their own. So powerful. I didn't expect a cultivator who has only cultivated for a few hundred years to have the power of a realm lord. Yeah, I really didn't expect this. This scene was also witnessed by the hundreds of thousands of experts floating above the barrier. They witnessed the power of a realm lord and how shocking Su Fong was. They also knew their limits. In this galaxy, it was impossible for them to unleash such a large-scale attack without being shackled by the galaxy. After a series of explosions, most of the power was restrained by the galaxy. Divine Venerable Dijon, who was holding the god-faced halberd of 3 ghosts, approached Su Fong. You're very strong. I finally understand why immortals can't catch you when they come down. You're still alive under the eyes of so many immortals in the Zhuotian world. It's not luck, it's strength. If I'm not strong enough, how can I challenge you and take your Wutan world? Su Fong was still surrounded by the 6-story Xingguang. Together with the starry daylight sword, his aura was replaced by the divine power of the Dharma treasure. Clearly, he didn't give people the impression that he was strong. Only the Dharma treasure was strong. A natal Dharma treasure and a royal grade Dharma treasure as your natal Dharma treasure. You are indeed qualified to fight with me. But how many attacks can you take? I, a realm lord, have comprehended the power of a world and cultivated for more than 10,000 years. Whoosh, divine venerable Dijon roared and waved the god-faced halberd of 3 ghosts in his hand. In a breath, he unleashed an attack that was more than 1,000 feet long. Young commander, use your Dharma power. After glancing at it, Su Fong realized that the power of divine venerable Dijon's attack had reached the limit of 3 calamities, and his own strength was only at the level of 2 calamities. This was already close to his limit. But he still had his strongest trump card that he hadn't used yet. The power of more than 10,000 big goblin. In an instant, the 6-story pagoda that wrapped around his body burned with a shocking, demonic chi. Su Fong's true chi also burned. He was a flaming giant. He secretly activated his extraordinary divine power and used the power of a world. Illusory fire cloud, sword moving long river. The starry daylight sword drew a perfect and sharp arc. Another wave of sword chi appeared above him and formed a long river of sword chi. It buzzed and welcomed the attack of the large halberd Dharma treasure. Under the shocking attacks of both sides, there was a dazzling and deafening collision, forming a large area of the Star River that exploded. Su Fong and Divine Venerable Dijon were forced to retreat. From afar, the Cold Star River suddenly had a dazzling flame rising into the sky. Master, not far away in the Star River, The thousands of experts from the spiritual mist world were still hibernating with Yu Ying. At this moment, Yu Ying released an illusory intent. The intent formed the illusory image of the 6 lords of fertility. Even the illusory image could see the surprise in his eyes. Good. This is the strength that Su Fong should have. Without this strength, how could he merge with the immortals and create such a bloody storm in a small world? Even among the small world lords, his strength has reached the middle level. He's comparable to divine Venerable Dijon. Chapter 806. I really didn't expect that not only are his subordinates and the big goblins so strong, even he has such strength. Yu Ying was shocked. How did this person reach such strength in just a few hundred years? Even the best geniuses in the past needed 1,000 years to cultivate. It's hard to say. In short, although Su Fong isn't a true sector lord, his strength is at the same level as one. The 6 lords of fertility seem to be able to see the difference between Su Fong and Dijon Divine Sovereign. Another dazzling explosion erupted from the Milky Way. No matter if it was a great demon or a cultivator, they were all attracted by the light at this moment. The momentum caused by a large amount of destructive power had begun to affect a large part of the galaxy around the Wutan realm. Dijon Divine Sovereign controlled the 3 ghost god-faced halberd. From a start until now, the gem had been released, allowing him to attack the Star River again and again. However, after half a day of fighting, Dijon Divine Sovereign's face was covered in cold sweat. His breathing became heavier. I've used up a lot of my chi. I've cultivated for tens of thousands of years, and I'm already so tired. He can't last much longer. I didn't expect Su Fong's control of world power to reach such a level in the Star River. I thought I could heavily injure him in less than 3 moves, but now, the 2 forces in front of him clashed, forming a large area of destructive star scars. It was as if 10,000 horses were galloping, surging mightily. Any meteorite it encountered would be instantly crushed into fine powder, causing rings of starry waves to form outside the river of stars and extend outwards. Life treasure. I haven't even cultivated the 3 ghost god-faced halberd to such a level. How can this kid have such a life treasure in just a few hundred years? There must be an expert supporting him. I don't believe there's such a powerful genius in this world. No, he's a monster even more terrifying than the big goblin. Since your sacred art is so high, I wonder how strong your speed, physical body, yang soul, etc. are. Dijon Divine Sovereign showed his experience methods, not giving Su Fong a chance to breathe. Just as his previous attack weakened, he attacked again. A large number of big halberd magical weapons' godly power seemed to be able to penetrate the mountains and cross the seas, attacking Su Fong's Star River. The Star River was shaken again. They were even worried that the Milky Way would shatter because of this, creating a black hole that all living beings feared. As soon as the attack exploded, the other side of the Su Fong also set off a huge wave of sword chi. Lord Dijon suddenly teleported and disappeared in the aura of the galaxy. If the enemy doesn't move, I won't move. How would he know? On the other side, Su Fong revealed a strange sneer. His lips curled up as he used his great perfection ability to see through everything around him. This person probably thinks that I haven't cultivated for long, so my Jinshi is inferior to his. Naturally, his abilities are inferior to his as well. He's planning to slowly whittle away at my Jinshi and wait until I'm completely exhausted before using his full strength to suppress me. Little did you know that I would do the exact opposite. I used your thoughts to tangle with you until now, causing your true chi to be greatly depleted. You can't wait any longer. You're in a hurry to use your full strength. Dijon, Holy Sovereign, you're going to use your full strength, right? Then I'll give you more power and help you. I want you to know that you can't deal with me without using your full strength. It turned out that the great perfection ability had already seen through all of Lord Dijon, Holy Sovereign's actions. It could be said that no movement under his nose could escape his eyes. Su Fong took advantage of the turbulence in the aura and used the limitless Tao art. He fused the Tao of illusion with the Tao of reality and turned into a star. A lifeless energy clone shuttled through the turbulent aura in front of him. Originally, he could use the starry daylight sword to give Lord Dijon, Holy Sovereign, who was still careless and in control of himself, a chance to launch a sneak attack and severely injure him. However, he didn't use the true ability of the starry daylight sword. Its ability was assassination. From the beginning until now, Su Fong had only used the starry daylight sword as an ordinary Dharma treasure. Once the final ability was used, he was confident that he could assassinate Lord Dijon, Holy Sovereign, with this treasure. Su Fong's attack will severely injure you. The two forces were in the middle of the galaxy. Flames, sword auras, halberds, and other destructive powers were exploding. A shocking figure was hidden within the surging aura. Lord Dijon, Holy Sovereign, was less than 100 meters away from Su Fong. He cleverly used his skills, speed, and offensive aura to hide himself. From there, he could launch a sneak attack on Su Fong. Just as he was about to use the godly-faced halberd of three ghosts to fuse with other Dharma treasures and unleash a shocking attack, he didn't expect the aura to explode from the side. A palm print attacked from the right along with the destructive aura. Boom! Lord Dijon, Holy Sovereign, was shocked. As expected of a sector lord, he was able to sense the subtle changes in the aura in time. He turned around and used the godly-faced halberd of three ghosts to block the palm print. The palm print's power made him unable to hide. He revealed his true body and was forced back by the aura. A sword chi swiftly pierced through the air toward him. I've really underestimated you. Clang! Su Fong took the opportunity to attack. Lord Dijon, Holy Sovereign, shouted and used the godly-faced halberd of three ghosts to stab at the sword chi. The two metal auras violently clashed. Whoosh! Immediately, Lord Dijon, Holy Sovereign, left behind an afterimage and teleported behind Su Fong. He punched at the back of Su Fong's head. He thought that his speed could truly surpass Su Fong, but he didn't expect that even after using Wuji Doppelganger and sending out a few doppelgangers, Su Fong, who was targeted by Lord Dijon, Holy Sovereign, was still destroyed with one punch. Dead. No. Lord Dijon, Holy Sovereign, didn't feel excited or relaxed. Instead, he took a deep breath and continued to use his palm techniques, killing Su Fong around him one by one. Augmentation. More and more Su Fong appeared around Lord Dijon, Holy Sovereign. It allowed him to destroy one doppelganger and create another one. Every doppelganger, be it divine skills, dharma powers, or imprints, they all required a large amount of true chi. Normally speaking, if Lord Dijon, Holy Sovereign, destroyed one doppelganger, he would have used up a large amount of true chi from Su Fong Da. But the truth was different. Su Fong, who was hiding in one of the doppelgangers, was using the power of the world to fuse with the Tao of myriad arts. The doppelganger's Wuji doppelganger was supported by the power of the Milky Way, causing half of its power to come from the stars. That was the power of the Tao of myriad arts. Furthermore, the true enlightenment of Misty came from mysterious Misty Taoist in the greater world. It was an energy art from the greater world, an immortal Tao technique. Boom, boom, boom. The Wuji doppelganger seemed to be puppets. They didn't move at all, and under Lord Dijon, Holy Sovereign's attacks, one doppelganger after another was destroyed. Su Fong's power is shocking. Lord Dijon, Holy Sovereign, snorted. I get the feeling that he has control over the Milky Way like an immortal. But these doppelgangers can't be that strong. They can't attack, and they don't have the ability to move. In this minor world, cultivators from a mortal world can only create a few doppelgangers. After 1,000 years of cultivation, they can unleash some offensive power. Su Fong can create doppelgangers with shocking speed, but there's no way he can use them to attack. It's a waste of true energy. The biggest advantage of doppelganger divine abilities isn't in attacking, but rather in hiding Su Fong's true self. It seems he's hiding in one of the doppelgangers, preparing a killing move. Surrounded by Su Fong's doppelgangers, Lord Dijon, Holy Sovereign, pushed his speed, movement techniques, and fleshly body power to the pinnacle. He continued to crush one doppelganger after another. The true enlightenment of Misty really is wondrous. Using the Tao of myriad arts here in the Milky Way can strengthen my divine abilities. Not only can I not be shackled by the stars, I can even use their power. Not only was Su Fong hiding in one of the doppelgangers, but he was also preparing to unleash a real attack. Smiling confidently, he once again used the true enlightenment of Misty, changing his hand seals for the next doppelganger. Boom! Lord Dijon Holy Sovereign's speed was indeed terrifying. With his teleportation speed, his punches were able to crush several doppelgangers at the same time. Seeing more than a dozen doppelgangers surrounding him, Lord Dijon Holy Sovereign also appeared on the spot and threw out more than a dozen punches. The punches instantly engulfed all of Su Fong's doppelgangers. But, bang! Just as each doppelganger was about to shatter under the attacks of the punches, the eyes of each doppelganger suddenly burst out with a beast-like Yuan spirit divine might. Not good. Lord Dijon Holy Sovereign thought that these doppelgangers would all shatter under his attacks, and even Su Fong's true self, who was hiding among them, would be heavily injured. But who knew that when he felt the Yuan spirit divine might released by the doppelgangers, he would be shocked. These Yuan spirit divine might seem to be just divine might. However, if one were to take a closer look, the divine might was actually countless flying swords that were capable of leaping across the sky to kill, containing a dozen or so primordial spirit sword star storms that were surging over. What Saint Venerable Dijon saw was a sword star storm. The wind and clouds surged and wanted to swallow him up. Why is there such a terrifying Yang soul? When he sensed all of this, his body seemed to have turned into ice, and his divine acupoints immediately exploded. Countless Yuan spirits surged out and formed a large amount of divine might around his head. The divine might was the defense formed by the Yuan spirits. Squeak! His teeth were chattering uncontrollably. Boom! Boom! More than a dozen Yuan spirit sword stars bombarded the newly formed Yuan spirit defense. At this moment, no one could see that the two of them were fighting. Su Fong and Lord Dijon Holy Sovereign were both in a state where their Yuan spirits were almost burning. No one could tell that the two of them were fighting to the death. In fact, under the confrontation of the divine might, Lord Dijon Holy Sovereign was probably experiencing the first time in his life. What he could see and feel were the Yuan spirit sword stars that were fierce and domineering. At this moment, he thought that it was just an ordinary attack, but he was wrong. The Yuan spirit sword star storms were powerful. Not only were there many of them, but they were also tough and fierce. They destroyed his Yuan spirit defense layer by layer. That's my yin-yang Rakshasa sword. It's not the kind of explosive attack that ordinary Yuan spirits have. It's a supreme Yuan spirit divine ability. After shattering the clones that were attacked by the fist shadows, a large number of clones formed behind them. Su Fong's real body was hiding among them. He watched everything calmly. It seemed that when he used his Yuan spirit divine power in the clones and planted the yin-yang Rakshasa sword in them, he used the memories that he subconsciously passed to Lord Dijon Holy Sovereign. He felt that the clones would not be able to attack, and even if they were, they would not be able to threaten him. But he was wrong. This time, it was the yin-yang Rakshasa sword. Whoosh! Lord Dijon Holy Sovereign's divine power started to collapse, and his aura was also weakening. It turned out that the yin-yang Rakshasa sword had destroyed his Yuan spirit, and a part of it had entered his brain. It was probably damaging his divine aperture, causing his young infant to be severely injured. Dying. Seeing this, Su Fong suddenly controlled his clones and used them to cover him. They all grabbed sword chi and slashed toward Lord Dijon Holy Sovereign. Lord Dijon Holy Sovereign, who seemed to be unable to fight back, suddenly opened his mouth and spat. He trembled and almost fainted. However, he still crushed a seal. Big Dipper talisman. Not good. He hid among the clones and was about to cut off Lord Dijon Holy Sovereign's head. But the talisman he released suddenly shattered. An immortal aura that definitely did not belong to a small world and came from a great world exploded with Lord Dijon, Holy Sovereign, as the center. Chapter 807. This burst of immortal light was released from the rune. It was like a giant demon in a state of hunger that wanted to bite this galaxy to pieces. Su Fang exclaimed. His clones were all shattered, burned, and turned into dust under the light. The power of his natal Dharma treasure merged with the flesh fetus divine armor and a part of the Tao artifact to form a defense. But before the defense was completed, Su Fang, who was in the Xian Guang state of the Six-Path Pagoda, was also destroyed by the light from the rune as his clones were destroyed. It instantly devoured him. Poof! At the center of the light. Sacred Lord Dijun summoned this rune at the last moment. Its power didn't belong to a small world, and it could probably kill Su Fang. But as soon as he smiled, he took a few steps back and spat out blood. The divine power around his mind also disappeared. Sacred Lord Dijun touched the blood and panted. He felt that there was a giant rock on his body. Why is his yang soul so powerful? I thought he had reached the peak in terms of speed and divine powers. It's impossible for him to have a powerful yang soul after hundreds of years of cultivation. I didn't expect his essence soul to be so powerful. It almost broke my divine aperture. Buzz buzz. The power of the rune covered dozens of miles of the galaxy. Everything inside seemed to have evaporated. There were no particles at all. A figure covered in blood mist was struggling in the midst of the broken defense. It was Su Fang, who was hit by the rune power. Another deity rune from a great world. If I still had the power I had when I fought with the third prince, I would have lost all my abilities even if I didn't die. There were many lacerations on his body, but at this moment, the blood vessels that were growing out of the lacerations were beginning to weave together, and the wounds were healing. He's not dead. The hundreds of thousands of cultivators from the Wu-Tan field all knew that Sacred Lord Dijun used the power of a great world's deity and thought he could kill Su Fang easily. Unexpectedly, Su Fang was still alive in the galaxy, which shocked countless cultivators. Even the masters under Sacred Lord Dijun were in disbelief. Heavenly Sovereign Dijun, who was in the same mood, was staring at Su Fang's every move. He was the only cultivator in this part of the Starry River who could clearly see the changes that had taken place in Su Fang's body. What kind of physical body is this? You're actually injured so deeply that your bones are visible. If it weren't for your physical body, you wouldn't have survived. Do you know why Seven-Star Child came to the lower realm alone to find me? Su Fang also used his Zhun Qi, and the six-story Xianguang rose up again, fusing with his body. He coldly replied, "It is because of the Black Lotus true body. When I was on the Seven Stars Demon Island, I see Seven Stars Child's second doppelganger. This is the reason why he came to the lower realm. The power left behind by an immortal is indeed a good thing, and you, Heavenly Sovereign Dijun, think that you can kill me with an immortal talisman. You are very wrong. Don't be smug." Dijun's sacred venerable was quite tired. Su Fang formed a hand seal in the air and flew over. "Your primordial spirit has been severely injured by me. We were on par before, but now you are no match for me. Doppelganger." Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. More than a dozen doppelganger appeared with sword chi, approaching the sector lord like peerless masters. Heavenly Sovereign Dijun suddenly put his hands together and a Xianguang, a Tao artifact, wrapped around him. Qilin armor. A red glow enveloped him, and a dark red armor that looked like it was made of countless gems appeared on his body. The armor wasn't a normal defensive Dharma treasure. It was a Tao artifact. The armor was made of many pig blood gems, and there were many deity patterns on it. One could see the totem of the legendary divine beast Qilin. Of course, this had nothing to do with the divine beast Qilin. It was just a Tao artifact named after the divine beast Qilin. Sizzle, sizzle, more than a dozen avatars charged over at this moment. However, just as they were 100 feet away from Heavenly True Sovereign's arms trembled. The Qilin Arch armor exploded with a blood-red Tao artifact's divine might, causing the avatars to instantly turn into dust. They collapsed in the galaxy and scattered. The Sector Lord is too powerful. He's already strong, and now he has an extraordinary Tao artifact. Su Fang's original body immediately retreated. Even though Dijon's Sacred Venerable's primordial spirit was severely injured, he still chased after Su Fong with the Qilin armor. At this moment, Su Fong was also comparing the difference between him and Dijon's Sacred Venerable. Let me use my Dao artifact too, and then find a chance to kill him. Small Universe, Saint Pot. When Su Fong saw the blood-red Dao treasure closing in on him with the teleportation speed of Dijon Heavenly Venerate, it formed a large area that was about to devour him. Su Fong immediately activated his Dao treasure. Small Universe, Saint Pot. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In the next moment, a large number of immortal runes condensed on Su Fong's body. The Dao artifact's power rose. You also have a Dao artifact. Dijon's Sacred Venerable was very surprised. What's with your expression? Could it be that only a sector lord like you has the right to have a Dao artifact? Others? So what if you have a Dao artifact? I don't believe that you, a cultivator who has cultivated for hundreds of years, confuse with a Dao artifact. You'll know when you try. 3 Ghost God Faced Halberd. This really angered Dijon Sacred Venerable. He once again took out his strange Dharma treasure, the 3 Ghost God Faced Halberd. Next, he began to fuse with the Dao artifact. After the aura of the 3 Ghost God Faced Halberd fused with the Dao artifact, the halberd's power exploded. This time, it wasn't the light of a King Gray Dharma treasure, but a Dao artifact's power. The galaxy between the two was covered by the blood-red Dao artifact's power. Sword moves the galaxy. Immediately, under the power of the Small Universe Saint Pot, Su Fong's Dao artifact's power appeared around him. Many Saint Pot totems appeared and grabbed onto the Starry Daylight Sword. A large area of burning Dao artifact's sword chi turned into a river of sword chi in the galaxy. It was on par with the blood-red Dao artifact's power. Seeing such a shocking sword chi attack, Dijon's Sacred Venerable's eyeballs almost fell out. He rubbed his eyes and said, "You're not my match." It turned out that when he saw the Dao artifact's power, he realized that Su Fong's Dao artifact's power had surpassed his. With tens of thousands of years of cultivation and the subconscious of a dominator, he didn't believe that a normal cultivator could be on the same level as a sector lord like him. Boom, boom, boom. It didn't matter if he believed it or not. The sword chi and the blood-red Dao artifact's power clashed with each other in the galaxy, just like when the two of them were fighting before. The explosion and light created now were more than 10 times stronger than when the two of them were fighting before. The power released was enough to kill 2 Calamity Realm Masters at the Flying Celestial Realm. Kill, kill, kill. Dijon's Sacred Venerable, who had almost lost his mind, kept using the Qilin armor's power to activate the godly faced halberd of 3 ghosts. He released waves after waves of halberd Dao artifact attacks. They were like huge waves. The waves behind hit the waves in front and crashed against the power of the Sword Chi Dao artifact. Seeing that Su Fong's attack was about to be swallowed by the destructive power, he also activated the Small Universe Divine Pot with all his power. The Dao artifact's power was endless. Together with the Way of the Void and the power of the world, more and more Sword Chi Dao artifact rivers appeared from the galaxy. The battle had reached the most intense stage. The galaxy where the two of them were was completely in the light of the explosion of the Dao artifact. It even affected the Wu-Tan field, affecting the energy of countless cultivators. Deep in the galaxy, in front of thousands of spiritual mist field experts, the 6 Lords of Fertility could not help but sigh. No matter who wins or loses this battle, Su Fong's name will truly resound in this galaxy. The small worlds everywhere will know that a new giant is rising. His light is brighter than a comet. Ying was still in shock. Su Fong's power is indeed heaven-defying. To be able to release such an attack and fight Dijon's Sacred Venerable to this extent, Su Fong's power is too monstrous. This person's power is actually not as strong as Dijon Sacred Venerable. At most, he'll be at the Flying Celestial Realm with 2 Calamity Realm Masters. However, he has the ability to make up for this. His control of a galaxy is better than Dijon Sacred Venerable's. Even I and the Dao artifact made his overall power reach such a level. I firmly believe that the Wu-Tan field will belong to Su Fong now. It must be so. Dijun, sacred venerable, has been severely injured. The longer this drags on, the more serious the impact on his Tao heart will be. The 6 lords of fertility seem to have seen the outcome. Hundreds of exchanges. It caused the galaxy to become a 10,000-mile zone of destruction. This was not inside the small world, but outside the galaxy. Suddenly, the Earth-Truth Heavenly Sovereign's voice rang out like thunder. "Listen to my orders. Kill this child." Suddenly, a person with a Tao artifact flew towards the Wu-Tan field from the edge of the explosion. Whoosh, 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 it was Dijun's sacred venerable. His Tao artifact's light was less than 1/3 of before. As he flew away, the thousands of experts waiting in the galaxy finally released their auras and flew towards the galaxy. Another person quickly appeared with a destructive aura. Su Fong roared in the sky. "Dijun, sacred venerable, you're running away without a fight? From now on, the Wu-Tan field will change its name to E. It will belong to Su Fong. I'm not going to fight with you today." Dijun's sacred venerable chose to run away decisively. Not only did he run away, but he also asked the thousands of experts to form an array to deal with Su Fong together. Despicable. Do you think I will let you hurt my brother like this? When Dijun's sacred venerable and the thousands of experts gathered, he hid in the center and ordered the experts around him to form seals. An offensive array began to form. At this moment, a white figure flew down from above. It turned out to be Bai Ling, who was enraged. She looked weak, but she flew straight towards the thousands of experts. Die! The array's attack was almost complete. As Dijun's sacred venerable sneered, a Xian Guang from the array turned into a sword light and pierced towards Bai Ling from the galaxy. Treasure circle. Bai Ling opened her right hand, and a dark gray circle suddenly appeared in her palm. It looked like a ring, but it suddenly flew out from her palm and flew towards the array's huge sword. The circle became 3 feet wide. Its aura was not strong, but when it collided with the huge array sword chi, it smashed the array's sword chi into dust and collapsed. Bang! The circle then headed towards the array that was protecting thousands of people. Whoosh! The array unleashed a strong defensive Xianguang. Boom! However, the circle that did not seem strong, when it collided with the array, it shattered like the array's huge sword. The circle then went into the thousands of people. As it spun quickly, it met a flying celestial realm calamity realm giant. Boom! Without wasting any aura, the circle hit the cultivator in the blink of an eye, and he was also turned into dust. The circle then met a second giant, and the result was the same. In a breath's time, the cultivator was turned into a mist of blood. They were like weak sand that could not withstand the wind, and they collapsed with one hit. Chapter 808. Supreme 1. First, the circle broke through the formation formed by thousands of powerful cultivators. Then, it charged into the powerful cultivators' camp fearlessly. More than that, the flying celestial realm cultivators were dying under the circle. Many of the powerful cultivators looked at Lord Dijun for help. Lord Dijun did not expect a little girl to have such an artifact. He ordered the powerful cultivators to take out their artifacts to stop the circle. Rise! The powerful cultivators all took out their artifacts. All kinds of artifacts let out a deafening sound. One after another, flying swords flew towards the circle. Boom! However, when the flying sword touched the circle, it only took one hit to cause the powerful flying sword to shatter, just like the cultivators before it. The flying swords and other artifacts that came from behind also clashed with the circle. Boom! 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 Wherever the circle went, no artifact could withstand it. As soon as the artifact touched the circle, it shattered and turned into dust. Hundreds of artifacts were destroyed by the circle in a very short time. The other artifacts also had primordial spirits. When they felt the horrifying power of the circle, they did not dare to get close to it. Bai Ling, who was floating in the air, moved her fingers slightly. The circle flew toward the powerful cultivators, scaring them into retreating. Some of them could not dodge in time and used their skills to attack the circle, but their skills could not stop it. A circle was shattered, and the cultivator died under the circle. The circle spun faster and flew past two powerful cultivators of the flying celestial realm, turning them into a mist of blood. All of you listen up. Only death awaits you if you follow Saint Venerable Dijon. If you submit immediately, this fairy will let you live. At this time, Bai Ling shouted coldly, "If you still want to follow Lord Dijon, then I will have to kill you all." Supreme One. She ignored the powerful cultivators. "Ignorant Junior, I will take care of you." Whoosh, whoosh. Finally, Lord Dijon made his move. He released the Qilin armor again and unleashed the horrifying power of a doctrine artifact to protect Lord Dijon. He jumped up and took out the godly-faced halberd of three ghosts. Controlling the doctrine artifact's power, he attacked with a dazzling doctrine artifact halberd. Slap! The doctrine artifact's power hit the circle. The circle did not move at all. Instead, the doctrine artifact's power shattered. Kacha! Heavenly Venerate Dijon felt that his attack had hit an infinitely deep galaxy. The power disappeared, or was forcefully blocked by the circle. But at this moment, the deity-faced halberd of three demons in his hand suddenly cracked. From the gem to the bottom, it shattered into pieces. Puff the Tao artifact's power was suddenly counterattacked by the circle. Just a slight ripple was enough to flip Dijon Divine Venerable over. This sector lord spat out blood in midair. Bai Ling ignored sacred Venerable Dijon and looked at the thousands of stunned cultivators below. "Those who follow my wishes will live. Kill." He flicked his finger. The circle seemed to be under the control of a law. It suddenly shook and spun into the expert suppression. Boom, boom. Wherever they went, the origin cultivators from the Wu-Tan realm, as well as some old antiques, used all kinds of defenses, divine abilities, and magic treasures. To them, magic treasures were like watermelons. No, it was not even a watermelon. At most, it was an egg. The circle easily knocked over the experts like a row of eggs, killing more than a dozen magnates in an instant. Don't kill me. I'll beg for mercy. I'll beg for mercy. The circle swept towards another group of experts. Unexpectedly, only now did these experts know how powerful the circle was. They all quickly knelt down. Only then did Dijon Divine Venerable stabilize his body. The Qilin the Arch Armor had lost its Tao artifact's power, and he was covered in blood. Seeing the experts under him give up resisting, he was furious. Kill them. There were experts who resisted Dijon Divine Venerable. We don't want to die. You're not his match. If you let us go, we'll die for you." But there were still some people who immediately released their magic treasures and all their power. They turned into rays of light and charged towards the circle. In the end, the circle only flashed quickly, and those experts instantly wailed and screamed like pigs being slaughtered. There was a mist of blood everywhere. Who would have thought a realm lord, as well as so many origin source experts of our Wu-Tan realm, is not a match for Su Fong and the others? Luckily, we didn't follow Dijon Divine Venerable and attack Su Fong. Otherwise, we would have been massacred and our dojo might have been destroyed too. Everything that happened to Dijon Divine Venerable and his experts was seen by the hundreds of thousands of experts behind. They still didn't believe it, but seeing it with their own eyes, they had to believe it. Who didn't suffer a huge impact? Dijon Divine Venerable, don't think you can do anything just because you have a Tao artifact. Watch how I deal with you. Under countless gazes, Bai Ling controlled the circle and stood on top of it, flying towards the Divine Venerable. Damn it! Who knew? Dijon Divine Venerable first activated a Tao artifact's divine light, then suddenly shot out a Xianguang. Qi, a power that didn't belong to a small world, passed through the Tao artifact's attack. It turned out to be a solidified great world's power. Boom! This power came suddenly and hit Bai Ling and the circle. Luckily, the circle released an aura in time to protect Bai Ling. Then, the Tao artifact's power also hit and covered Bai Ling, but the aura released by the circle was not affected at all. Whoosh! Seeing this, Dijon Divine Venerable thought that his last trump card, the power from the great world, could kill Bai Ling. Who knew that Bai Ling was fine? He quickly turned around and ran towards the Wu-Tan field as fast as he could. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, an aurora shadow appeared beside the Earth Truth Sacred Venerate and struck the Earth Truth Sacred Venerate's neck soundlessly. Blood spurted out as the starry daylight sword cut into half of Dijon Divine Venerable's neck. As expected of the Divine Venerable Realm Lord who had a Tao artifact, he was also very powerful. He was able to stop the starry daylight sword before his neck was cut off. This was the first time Su Fong had encountered such a situation since he used the starry daylight sword to kill people. But even so, before he could cut off Dijon Sovereign's neck and take off his head, he still lost his balance and knelt down. Blood spurted out from his wounds and splattered everywhere. No, Dijon Divine Venerable, have just achieved my goal and become a realm lord. I don't want to die like this. I want to truly merge with the Wu-Tan field and become a part of my flesh. No, Dijon Divine Venerable let out a cry of despair in the lonely Star River. His voice also spread across the Star River around the Wu-Tan field. Dijon Divine Venerable and the other experts who had surrendered. The hundreds of thousands of experts floating above the Wu-Tan field. And the experts of the Wu-Tan field who were fighting with the Big Goblin and other experts. Suddenly, at this moment, they all trembled. The cold air and fear made their hair stand on end, because the despair from the Supreme Realm Lord also made them feel endless despair. Success, Master. I didn't expect Su Fong to be able to kill the Wu-Tan field lord so quickly. On the other side of the Star River, the thousands of experts in the Spirit Mist field naturally heard Dijon Divine Venerable's helpless groan. Yu Yingying looked at the six lords excitedly. The six lords said, "Among the realm lords, Dijon Divine Venerable is only a middle-level expert, but he is still a realm lord. It's not worth it for him to die in the hands of a cultivator who has only cultivated for a few hundred years. If it was anyone else, they would also be unwilling. It's fate." After the Wu-Tan field lord fell, it was Dijon Divine Venerable's turn. He is not as strong as the former Wu-Tan field lord. That Wu-Tan field lord has cultivated for a few 100,000 years. He is not as strong as Zhuotian field lord, but he is still of very high existence among the realm lords. And this Dijon Divine Venerable is indeed a bit unlucky. He just got the Wu-Tan field and met a terrifying opponent like Su Fong. Master also feels that Su Fong is terrifying. Of course he is. Look at that little girl's Tao artifact. Even in our Spirit Mist field, there is no power that can deal with it. And that terrifying turtle demon. Even I find it hard to suppress it. Adding those heaven-defying big goblin with Tao artifacts. Su Fong's overall strength has reached the level of a small world. The six lords of fertility praised Su Fong. This was something Yu Yingying had never seen before. At this moment, the Star River regained its peace. The fighting in the Wu-Tan field's world barrier also stopped. The Big Goblin, as well as the Wu-Tan field's experts, were all paying attention to the Star River ahead. The hundreds of thousands of Wu-Tan field's cultivation forces were also silent. As for the thousands of experts under Dijon Divine Venerable, let alone Su Fong, just Bai Ling alone was enough to kill them all in a few days. Only now did they realize that the little girl above looked weak, but her killing intent was even more terrifying than a demon's. Within the Star River, Su Fong walked towards Dijon Divine Venerable. "Don't struggle. Your Yuan spirit and true Qi have all been used up. You can't move my Dharma treasure." Dijon Divine Venerable was currently trying his best to force the starlight sword out of his neck. But he still didn't gain anything. He couldn't use a Tao artifact, and the Starlight Sword itself was a peerless treasure. "Su Fong, you stole what belongs to me. I, Dijon Divine Venerable, won't let you go even if I become a ghost." Dijon Divine Venerable heard the voice and struggled to raise his head to see Su Fong looking down at him. When had he ever been the only one in this Star River who could look down on any cultivator like that? Don't say such useless words. Dijon Divine Venerable, I have to kill you. There's only one realm lord in the Wu-Tan field, but it's not you. There's only one realm lord in the Wu-Tan field. That's me, Su Fong. Su Fong. Poof. It seemed like Saint Venerable Dijon still wanted to struggle. He looked like he wanted to eat Su Fong. But in the next second, the starry daylight sword that had cut into his neck suddenly unleashed a blinding white light, cutting off the last bit of flesh in an instant. Dijon Divine Venerable's head flew up along with the blood. He turned to look at the Wu-Tan realm and said, "The Wu-Tan realm lord, Dijon's sacred sovereign, has already died at my hands. According to our agreement, only one of us can survive. Luckily, I'm lucky, and I'm the victor. From now on, the Wu-Tan realm lord is no longer Dijon's sacred sovereign, but I, Su Fong. Whether you accept it or not from now on, if anyone tries to stop me from entering the Wu-Tan realm, they will end up the same as Dijon's sacred sovereign. Don't blame me for being ruthless. Killing you is much easier than killing Dijon sacred sovereign." Master, master, master. As soon as these words were spoken, the galaxy became even more deathly silent. However, Su Jinhua, Qin Yuan Ho, Guang Zhao Sage Monarch, Elder He Zun, Sky-Reaching Monster Venerable, Nine-Headed Monster King, Black Ridge Monster King, and the other Monster Kings all cheered.